Welcome back to another edition of Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Oh, we actually have a truncated edition. We will be slightly abbreviated today because we're off at around 6:40 because we got Texas baseball. That's right, Texas baseball. The pregame starting up for you at 6:45, taking on Stanford. That's right, win or go home. We'll break it all down for you. We got my man Hardball to help us do that. Also, we'll preview NBA Finals Game 5. Speaking of maybe win or go home. In this situation, it looks like the Denver Nuggets may be celebrating their first championship on their home floor. We'll talk about it and break it down. Also, we have anonymous coaches in the Big 12 talking about Texas football. We'll review that in the 4 o'clock, go behind the burnt orange curtain. Also talk about Pro Football Focus, really high on the Texas offensive line. We'll get into that and the rave reviews about Quinn Ewers offseason continue. We'll also talk some NFL and talk Dallas Cowboys. Do they have the best secondary in all of the NFL? We'll break it down. All of that and more. Before we do, let's introduce you to the rest of the crew. He was a second-round pick for the Montreal Expos, but a first-round pick for the Austin Radio Network. He originally committed to the University of Texas, but decided to forego the 40 acres. He had to pursue his dream in the cheese. Pimping ain't easy, but for this man, it's a breeze. He is Mike Hardball Harge, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, brother?
Man, I am excited. It is possible series ending for one of these teams. Both ways, in baseball and basketball. Basketball is hoping to go another day, but baseball, there is no tomorrow. We have to go for it and make it happen. But let me talk about my man who sits across from me every day. He hails from H-Town with the Get Down. He's a lifetime Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babels.
I appreciate that intro as always. That's how to waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid. We're pretty damn sure that this man is underpaid. It's Patrick Davis, y'all. What's going on, Patrick? How are you, brother?
Hey, man, you know how we always joke that Harge knows everybody?
Yeah.
So we're watching the Wembanyama in the finals game before the show.
Oh, my God.
This dude knows one of Wembanyama's teammates.
What in the European League?
And the finals in the whatever French league
league
that he's
he's in,
in.
yeah.
He when he's watching the game with me and he's like, "Hey man, is that Thomas? I know I played with his dad."
I'm like, is that Tayshaun Thomas right there? I've been wondering what team he's been on.
Wow.
Yeah, he's another.
Tayshaun Thomas.
That's right, 254 boy.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
he did.
I mean,
He is 254 boy. He played at Killeen High School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who didn't come from the 254 at this
Hey,
point?
it's amazing how
It
many
seems
athletes
like-
come out of there, right? It's
I mean-
amazing. Senators, we got a road named after a councilman. I mean, we got it all, man. Wow. K-Town, it expands. Don't forget, it's a military town, so people come in and out.
I'm blaming Patrick. Gave you an easy softball
Hey,
to shout
Patrick
out the
was
254.
sitting with me.
We were watching a game in France and he's like, "Yeah, I got one. I got no one."
He
Yeah.
do know every damn body, and every damn body he know is from the 254.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to make sure you know your peoples.
It ain't that he know everybody. Everybody he knows is from the 254, and he claims that basically everybody is from the 254.
Hey.
That's his claim.
Check their area code. Check it.
Oh man, that's wild. Okay, yeah, I'm not surprised though. Honestly, every time I'm hanging out with Harge, he end up knowing some random person walking through, and I'm like, "How do you know that person?" He's like, "Oh man, we used to work together." And I was like, "All right, you know what? That usually I don't even listen for the rest of the story." 'Cause, like I said, Harge just knows every damn body. You can get to know Harge too. You can do it on in the Twitterverse. He's at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. I'm at Rod Babers. Also, you have the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. That is the number to the Specs text line. We'll get into the NBA Finals here, but Hard, just kind of a preliminary discussion. We'll break down Texas baseball and preview their matchup versus Stanford next segment. What are your thoughts about a weekend went down for Texas baseball?
Well, this is another one of those conversations we were having, but we were a bad play in right field from being done. But you went back there, they battled, they went all the way through it, and we'll talk a little bit more about it here in 3:30. But that pitcher yesterday,
Ooh.
That's big league stuff right there.
Was it Quinn Matthews?
Quinn Matthews,
Wow.
big league stuff. And what I mean by that is because he had command of every single one of his pitches.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That is rare. And I said it early in the game. We had just got back home and the game was getting ready to start. And I saw him throw his first couple changeups. And I was like, if he can keep that right there, he can throw the entire game off of fastball and changeups. Because his fastball was 93 and his changeup was 80. That's a big difference, and it looks the exact same. I ain't even get into a slider. I've seen guys that have had that type of downward motion, but the way he pitched yesterday, it was going to be tough for everybody, no matter who it was. I don't care which team other than Texas would have been at the plate. They would have had a tough time because of the effectiveness that he had with his changeup.
Yeah, no doubt. He's got, 4 different pitches?
Yes.
And pitches them all really, really well.
And they all looked the same. Remember how I was always telling you, I was
Yeah.
like, the slider for me looks so much like a fastball. The changeup, I would be able to adjust to it. But the slider was a pitch that looked so much, especially righty on righty, just like lefty on lefty, however you want to go about it. But he had so much movement on that pitch that it looked all the same. And the release point, if you go back and watch the game, you will see the release point is the same. So he wasn't giving anything away.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to pick up
Tipping
certain
pitches,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, like how could
Yeah.
if I was in there, how would I help these guys? All I would do was pray for them. That's the only way I would help them. I would have to pray for them.
That is helping him. Yeah.
That would be it.
Yeah, you push.
Guys, buckle it up. Let's go.
We're definitely seeing that way, and that was an unbelievable effort. 156 pitches.
Yeah, 103 of them were strikes, though. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying. Like some guys, they throw a lot of pitches, and they're having a tough time throwing strikes. That's why they're having so many pitches, like LeBaron Johnson yesterday. LeBaron couldn't – he was missing low, which was great. You don't want to miss up because then they'll start driving the ball all out of the park of it. Yeah. But he was missing down, and I'm like, man, I need a little – come on, man. Raise it up just a little bit. Just a little bit. But it was a tough game yesterday, but I really enjoyed both of these games. Now it's winner take all. This is what it's all about right here. This is what you come to the University of Texas for. This is why you go to Stanford. You know, the tradition of these universities is like no other. So this is what it's all about. And what better way than coming down to a winner take all game to go to Omaha?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. It's gonna be great drama. Hopefully, it's drama that ends up with a Longhorn dub to send them on to the College World Series. But we'll get into that and break it down in more detail coming up next segment. Gentlemen, let's get into the NBA Finals. It seems like the fat lady ain't sung officially yet, but she's definitely warming up. She's getting ready. She's put on her best dress. She put the wings down.
Oh, yeah.
She's looking good. Got the makeup on. All right, she's a BBW.
Her glam crew showed up.
Yeah.
Her glam crew showed up.
So this fat lady tonight, I think she's ready to sing in Denver. They won Game 4, 108-95. This is two of the kind of standout nuggets and stats that stood out to me from Game 4. Now, obviously previewing Game 5, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray were held to their series low combined points in Game 4, 38 points. And you can almost hear Spoelstra like, hey, man, we got to take these guys out of the game. All right? You got to. One is the heart and soul, and one is the head of the snake. We got to cut them both out. All right, we can't have either one of them. And then, and when they do, defensively, they did a decent job of being able to neutralize both of those threats. You're talking about the best player on the planet, and Jamal Murray right now, who's playing at an All-NBA level. And then Aaron Gordon goes off.
Yes, sir.
27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Bruce Brown goes off. He gets 21 points, 11 of them in the fourth quarter. This was actually when Denver showed you exactly why they are the best basketball team right now on the planet. Because even when their, Batman and Robin gave you the lowest point total of the series so far, other guys stepped up and they still ended up with a commanding win. And actually in Jokic, I think the epitome of this is Jokic getting in foul trouble Right, he get the 5 fouls with the Bam flop, the Bam Adebayo flop, gets some 5 fouls. Nuggets have a 10-point lead when Jokic ends up going to the bench,
and he sprained his ankle early in the game too.
Yes, that's
Yep,
true.
yep.
But just showing you the depth exactly. That other guys step up. When Jokic comes back in the game, late in the game, they still were up 9 points, so they didn't give up anything at all.
No.
With Jokic on the bench. So this Denver team, and by the way, also a Denver team that was, they were a team that was under 500 on the road in the regular season, and then they lost 3 of their first 4 road games, even in the playoffs.
You were talking about it. You kept saying the guys, they're not a really good
They
road
weren't.
team.
They weren't.
Right.
They've won 5 straight road games for the first time all season long.
Yep.
And they did it in the playoffs.
They did it in the playoffs.
Crazy.
And that's the impressive part about it. And to your point, you look at what Aaron Gordon was able to do. He was plus 29 in plus minus. That's the most effectiveness that I've seen this season by any of those players. But not only that, you got help from Michael Porter Jr. Yes, he didn't have one of his best nights. He was 4 of 10 from the field and 0 of 3 from three-point land. But he still had 11 points. His plus minus was plus 13. And then Bruce Brown, he came out ready to play. And some of these guys, and this is what we've been talking about, some of these guys have been the underdogs. We talked about the non-draft picks for the undrafted players for Miami. We don't talk about these underrated type of players. Bruce Brown thinks he's a number 1 guard. He thinks he should be starting somewhere, and he's going to make a lot of money this year because people have got an opportunity to see him. And then we talk about the veteran leadership of a Jeff Green, talking to those guys, making them believe that this may be your only opportunity. Close it out. Go get it and play effectively. You look at what the Heat was able to do. Those other 2 guys that we've been talking about, Vincent and Strus, they have given them absolutely nothing, yet they are staying in the starting lineup. And the minutes definitely need to come down a little bit, but they played 18 and 18 minutes. Kevin Love started and got 18 minutes. Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry, and Caleb Martin. They had pretty good games, but they weren't those guys that at the crunch time, they were not closing the gap. When you bring in, you talked about it, when Joker was out, those guys, they didn't close the gap at all. What was it? You said 1 point differential. They had 10, and they came back with 9.
It was 9
Yeah.
when he came back in.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Knowing your role and playing it is the best part about this all. And they've been playing their role. The role players for Denver has been playing better than the role players for the Heat, period.
Yeah, and we saw it's like if you want to try and stop Jokic and Jamal Murray, you have to rotate and switch off and help off of other guys. And we've said it's going to be Aaron Gordon that you're going to help off on a lot because he is a guy that offensively has struggled throughout the season at points. So if you're going to say, well, Michael Porter Jr. we know can score, and we know Kentavious Caldwell-Pope can hit threes, so we don't want to leave either one of them. Aaron Gordon's the worst shooter, and he just took it to a different level in that game. And if you're saying that's the 5th option on offense, and he's going to be the leading scorer now because we have to help off somebody, and he's going to do it, what do we don't stand that chance because that's how we were beating Boston was Miami was doing that. When it was, all right, you want to help over on Jimmy, well, guess what? Max Strus is going to put up 20 on you, and Gabe Vincent will put up 20 on you, and Caleb Martin will put up 20 on you. And now with all those guys cooling off, you basically have a Duncan Robinson who is trying to go into hero mode and trying to and you just watch him play now, and he is just taking bad shots and just trying to get because, yeah, he's not being guarded heavily. They're staying over trying to make sure Jimmy Butler doesn't go off. But they'll take that all day. If you're going to come out and not play smart basketball and just think that you're going to need to save the game constantly, that's a good way to let it get out of hand. And I think that's what happened in Miami is they were basically in the game, and then they started to feel it slip away. And instead of really buckling down on defense and trying to get smart shots, they just tried to take crazy threes to get back into it, and it just let it open wide up.
Yeah, no, it's and Jamal Murray, his game in the playoffs has been. I mean, it really has kind of transformed right before our very eyes. They basically because Patrick brought up the game plan, the counter for Denver was to let Jamal Murray handle the rock more. Let's start off with him, feed him more, let him get in the groove earlier in the game. That worked out really well in Game 3. So in Game 4, they wanted to blitz him, try to take the ball out of his hands, or at least force him to be a distributor, take away his way to get to the rim and take away, obviously high percentage shots for him. He had 15 points, but it's 12 assists and 0 turnovers. This is a great stat. He said prior to this series, Jamal Murray had double-digit assists in just 14 of his 458 career games. That's a little over 3%. That's regular season and playoffs.
Yep.
And only once did he have double-digit assists in consecutive games. And he's had at least 10 assists in all 4 games of the finals and recorded 12 in Game 4.
This goes back to what
turn him into a distributor. He can do that and be elite at it. And something the Celtics really couldn't do against Boston. When they took that element away, the scoring element, they couldn't contribute offensively to the flow of the offense with their ability to distribute.
That's the thing that I've been talking about the entire time. The unselfishness. That when you play team basketball and it's not about me, it's about we. That is how this team has been playing. That's why I believe Michael Malone deserves more credit, because even in success, he is pointing out flaws. He has been on them religiously about making sure that they finish the job and do the things that help you win. Everybody's gotten their points. Everybody's had their shine. But you said it the other day, and I know Patrick has talked about it. When do we start putting Joker in that upper echelon of stars? You do it when you win a championship. Mm-hmm. And this is what Jamal Murray is another guy that is being looked at if he would have been healthy. Don't forget he was out, I think, almost 2 seasons. He didn't play at all last year. And now he's back to where he's starting to feel comfortable, and he understands, hey, man, I'm just dialed in. I work on my game. I practice. I want to see everybody else shine, and that is what they're doing. But I'm not counting the Heat out. I'm not counting them out. But they're searching for some oxygen because they're back in Denver right now, man.
Yeah. I was rooting for the Heat because I wanted the Heat to make it competitive. You guys said gentleman sweep. I'm thinking, that would be boring to watch, a gentleman sweep. And it wasn't boring. There were plenty of storylines to go out there. Yep. But even right now, I'll lean toward you guys hitting it on the money. Gentleman sweep. I just don't see Miami having anything to fight for. Even if they can extend this thing to 6, which would be remarkable, they're still going to lose this series.
If they extend it to 6, does that bring a bit of hope?
That would be impressive.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Does the momentum, everybody talk, momentum swinging. I'm like, it's one game.
No, it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be.
It'd be just Denver feeling way too good about themselves and them expecting to win. And then they would have to get that smack in the face. And Michael Malone.
He will smack him in the face.
He won't stand for it. He won't stand for it.
He will smack him in the face.
Getting a little too high on themselves. So
or it's even if Miami wins by shooting lights out threes, you're like, well, it's not sustainable. We've seen that shooting lights out threes is not sustainable for you in this finals. So even if you shoot a 50% for 3-point game, and Tyler Hero comes back and he shoots lights out, and you go, oh, that's great. I don't think you're going to do it in the next game. I don't think you're going to do it in Game 6.
I know, and they kept doing that early in the playoffs against Boston and against the 76ers. You're right, they have cooled off considerably from 3-point range. I believe in this game they were 8 of 25.
Yeah.
They were abysmal.
Yeah, and it's Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Caleb Martin all look like deer in the headlights right now. That it's not falling. And it was feeling so good throughout this whole playoffs for them that now when they're on the biggest stage and missing, they just look befuddled. They're like, I'm doing the same thing. You're like, yeah, you're just tired.
Yeah.
You just have never played this far into a season. You've never had to play these types of minutes. You've never played against this level of talent for this much where everything's on the line. And you're mentally and physically just completely spent. And all it takes is a little tweak in that knee to be different for it to bounce off the rim versus going in.
And it might have been one of the toughest roads to the finals in the history of the NBA. Yeah. So you not only took you the farthest they've ever gotten, a lot of these guys, but man, just trying to the play coming from the play-in game for the play-in
That's
position.
a lot of games and minutes.
That's a lot of games.
And just
That's
think,
a lot of games.
man, if you could have closed out Boston with the sweep,
Yeah.
you may have had a little bit more legs.
You definitely would have had legs.
But you couldn't close out Boston.
And-
they take 3 games from you
Yep.
and basically make a finals run just that much harder.
And you lost 2 in a row at home in the end of that series toward the end. And you lost 2. You just lost 2 in a row versus Denver. You can't even win at home right now. You lost 4 playoff games in a row at home. How often does that happen?
And convincingly
Like, how often
lost.
is that-
Like you got
Yeah.
beat.
I don't know how often I've seen that
Yeah,
in,
you got
in the modern
beat.
playoffs.
No, because you normally if you lose 2 playoff games at home, you don't
you're
win the
out.
series.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't
You're
advance
done.
the next series.
Yeah, exactly. So it probably was historic. But yeah, it just looks like they're done, guys. And we haven't seen Jimmy has not been bad. Jimmy Butler has not been bad at all. But they needed extraordinary, out of this world, superhuman Jimmy Butler. And they haven't gotten that. And I think it's also because, I think Spoelstra said we are him and he is us. Yeah, he is tired, and so are they are too.
Yeah, 25, 7, and 7 shooting, and it's like 50%, but it's
good.
like it's a good lineup. If you're the second best player on your team, that's fine. If you're the best, there's going to be a problem.
But the problem is they're not going to let him be Hemi like that. I don't see that happening. I don't see that type of performance. There was a stat that just came up talking about he scores 28.6 points in closeout game, not closeout game, but elimination games. So let's see. I don't think that's great. Go score your 28, but what are the people around you going to do, and how are you going to stop that other team?
And let's remember, we haven't seen Hemi in 8 games. It has been 8 games since we have
Hemi
seen
is
him.
tired.
It is after Game 3, they win Game 3 against the Celtics. He then shifts to Denver and has not been the same player since.
Yeah, he's been trending the wrong way for Miami Heat for a while now, and you'll get a good fight in this game because this team is all heart, all dog, as we know. So
It's going to be is there a fight in the second half?
There
will be a fight in the first half for sure.
Yeah.
But in the second half, if it goes the same route it has gone in 3 of these 4 games, does it just go to, that's our number?
They just can't score with him.
And then it's Duncan Robinson taking 3-pointers where he's leaning, jumping to the side, and everyone's trying to be the save the game, and Tyler Hero's going to try and come in and play. Like, at what point do you get to that point in the game and it just kind of all starts to fall apart for you in that second half? Because I don't know how you down 3-1 on the road, not being able to breathe, and you just go, no, let's get that extra fight out and lose in Miami.
Yeah. No, you're right. They just have no way to stop the bleeding. Usually their way to stop the bleeding is their defense. They would just stop the other team from scoring in the playoffs, and their three-point shooting was extremely hot. But, man, when they can't score in this series, there's nobody that can, ignite the offense because they've lost that really hot shooting from outside. And defensively, their elite defense, which they're one of the better defenses in the NBA, it's just like the Lakers, by the way. The Lakers are the best defense in the playoffs. It has no effect on the Denver Nuggets.
Right.
The Denver Nuggets, they are inefficient when they are out of rhythm and they're not in the flow of the offense. It seems to be more on them and not the effect that the Miami Heat are having on them lately. So, looks like it'll be could be a championship celebration tonight. First ever for Denver Nuggets.
What do you think is going to be going down in Denver?
They're going to be getting high as a kite. It's gonna be. It's gonna smell. It's gonna smell like
that's gonna have an aroma in the city.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
They are ready too.
Good for them, man. They deserve it. It's good to get new championship blood and DNA into the NBA.
No doubt.
Because the NBA has been an aristocracy for the most part, with the same teams winning over and over again, and they get a lot of dynasties in the NBA. It's good to have some new blood, and who knows, we may be on the precipice.
And
Denver's
feeling good when there's a Space Jam reference in the post game.
Oh,
that Aaron Gordon told Michael Porter Jr., well, you're playing okay right now, and when we get your powers back from the Monstars, you'll be really good.
See? They're just having inside jokes and everything.
That's
now.
how it's supposed to be, man. We ain't worried about y'all. We trying to beat up on each other in here. That's the best time.
Yeah, and they are playing like it too, man. And it is their coming out point. Everybody's now starting to figure out how good this Denver Nuggets squad is. All right, we come back. Let's see how good this Texas baseball squad is. We'll discuss their Game 3 winner-go-home situation they got coming up versus the Stanford Cardinal. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here, and I want to talk to my friends. I don't want to talk to you as friends about Quick Roofing. Sorry about that. Jeff Quick started Quick Roofing in 1984 with just one house, and that one house has evolved into over 200,000 projects. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing requires a project manager on every job site, ensuring that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. Quick Roofing believes that if you don't take care of your customers, you're not going to have a business. Quick Roofing has been around for over 38 years, so they want to make sure that they know how to take care of their customers. So do yourself a favor, reach out today and get a free, no-obligation inspection at quickroofing.com. That's right, you get a free, no-obligation inspection at Quick Roofing. Reach out and get that inspection at quickroofing.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick plays jams intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who may have had a tough weekend, recovering from a tough weekend. Texas baseball, it was the best of times and the worst of times. Best of times was that Game 1 thriller when they were essentially outplayed for 8 innings.
Yes.
And in the 9th inning, they decided, they basically Stanford, which is something that's uncharacteristic of Stanford, beat themselves.
Correct.
in that ninth inning. Texas scored 5 runs. They had 1 hit, and it was like a hit batter and 4 walks.
Catcher's interference. We had all kinds of stuff going on in this game.
Hey, the baseball guys wanted Texas
Yeah.
to get another shot there or to get that dub, and that's certainly what happened. There was it was actually first. I got this little stat. Texas pulled off the first final frame comeback in the NCAA tournament since 2009.
Yeah.
2009 win versus Army. Yeah.
Interesting. And they were talking about it, and a bunch of my buddies were, texting back and forth during this time and kept saying, Coach Gus once said something something to the effect that if you're down a bunch of runs in the ninth, you probably aren't going to be able to string enough hits together to win it by yourself. The only way you can win such a game is for the other team to give you some base runners by walks, hit by pitch, or by errors. In order for that to happen, you got to work and be enabling the pitcher to throw strikes, because most of the time, the pitchers are trying to get you to swing and chase pitches. That is the hardest thing at the plate that I've talked about numerous times, is you get so excited to get to the plate that you think, but you're never going to hit a 7-run home run. You're never going to hit that number that you are needing. So in order for you to chase runs, put pressure on them by making them throw enough pitches, because we're not that smart at the plate. They're not that smart on the mound sometimes, and they overthink it. Get ahead. That's why we always talk about first pitch strikes. First pitch strikes, because then you can pitch off of that. And if you don't do that, boom, that's what's going to cause a lot of problems. And for them to come back and be able to do what they were able to do on Friday or Saturday night, you thought it would lead into Sunday to where it would be like, okay, guys, we just hit them in the face. We're not even supposed to be at this point. Let's go steal this game right here and head to Omaha. So then they go out yesterday and they face a Tom Glavine starter kit by being able to pitch on both sides of the plate. And I know a lot of people were complaining. I've been hearing all that stuff about the strike zone. I'm not worried about that, man, because both teams are on that strike zone. Mm-hmm. Both teams are playing on the same field. And, yes, you might miss a pitch here or there. There might be certain plays. But early in the game, we weren't even putting the ball in play. I saw this stat today, too. The Texas top of the lineup is 3 for 30, and that goes with JT going 1 for 9, Justin Thomas, Peyton Powell 2 for 8, Dylan Campbell 0 for 5, and G-Wagon Garrett Gilmette 0 for 8. At the top of your lineup, those are your table setters. When they're going well, the team is going well. When they're not going well, it's hard for you to scratch runs across. And so that is going to be the biggest challenge today. Is everybody's talking about our pitching staff versus their pitching staff? No, it's the top of the lineups for both teams, because even their main guy, Tommy Troy, he's not on fire. He's not lighting the world on fire, and he's one of the better players. He's going to be a top 10 pick. He's 1 for, 9 in this series? So, the top of the lineups are struggling. So when your pitching is struggling, like it was a little bit yesterday, and you're going against a guy that is throwing that many strikes, and I'm talking about in and out, up and down, change up, dealing. Yeah, you could go up there, and I'm like, y'all got to sit. Y'all have to sit change up. You have to. He's going to throw it. I know it sucks because you're like, I don't want to miss that fastball. But if you sit on that change up and start spraying him all over the field, you saw Mitchell Daly go to right center field. You saw a couple of guys come up and get some pitches that they can handle. But you're not stringing those along. You need to get the top of the order going tonight. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's interesting what you brought up earlier about the first pitch strikes, because Quinn Matthews, he was big for first pitch strikes. I think on 22 of 36 batters, he had a first pitch strike. So
that's what I'm saying.
He set the tone.
You do that, you go up there, you're like, oh, God.
Staying ahead all the time.
Especially when you're struggling and everything comes up, you always go, I'm already 0-2 when I step in the batter's box. It's like, man, this guy is on it today. And then, we had guys trying to drag bunt to get him out of his rhythm to create runners, but couldn't even create runners in that situation. So it's a lot to unpack. And the good thing about it is flushed. They got another opportunity. They know what it's about. They've been here before. Matter of fact, they were just in this situation last year against East Carolina. Yeah. And that's when Dylan Campbell had that big home run, and things started to change for the team, and then they got a chance to go to Omaha. So we're right back in this situation before. And I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. The winner of this game will be the only team from last year's World Series that is returning. This is the only team. One of these two will be the only team. It's a new crop that is in Omaha.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this about Stanford, about who they have on the mound as opposed to who Texas has on the mound in Game 3, because hopefully they ain't got nothing that's like a Quinn Matthews, because that's crazy. Because I read this about this dude, the 156 pitches that he threw gave him a total of 336 pitches thrown in a 10-day span.
Yeah, he's left-handed, man.
Lefties
get out there, yeah, and he's
really though.
He's gonna be a high draft pick too.
Wow.
He's gonna get drafted pretty high. As my man not Craig Way, my man Greg Swindell would say, I call that a Friday night.
Whoa.
Because he used to throw 150. Remember, Kirk Dressendorfer threw a lot. I just told you the other day about our man Brooks Kieschnick throwing 172
I think it was,
pitches in a game. When you got it going, you're not prying that ball out of those pitchers' hands. And in that situation, because my man knew, if I come out and we lose, I'm done at Stanford. So I want another opportunity. This is my last time. He said if he needed to go out there and get three outs, he can go out there and do it for him tonight. But then we will have a bigger problem.
Man,
if they go out there and say that.
And
again,
amazing.
People, it's funny because I heard Chad and Zay talking about the tennis and how women's sports, in women's sports you play 2 out of 3. In men tennis you got to go, 4 out of 5, 3 out of 5. You got to win 3 matches out of 5. Same thing in softball. Nobody's saying nothing about all these softball pitchers that go out there and throw 300 pitches over the weekend. Nobody says a word. But when a pitcher goes out there and throws that many pitches, now obviously you want to be smart with it. Yeah. But if he's saying, I'm fine, let me go. And that was his opportunity. It's like you. I ain't coming out. I'm not rotating plays. Yeah. You crazy? You're going to have to fight me. And my man wanted to win. Yeah. So I understand how we're in that world now.
They just had a breakdown to collapse
exactly.
in Game 1. It's
exactly.
Like, no. We just had a collapse in Game 1. No, you ain't putting nobody in the closest.
Give me the ball. I got us. And we'll just deal with everybody talking trash. It's my arm. I'll do what I want to do. Because if he was really like in that situation where it was dire straits, it's like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. Not doing that.
Well, the arm looked unaffected late in the game in the ninth, and he still was dealing. So, but give me the pitching matchup you think today for Texas and for Stanford, if we know what that is.
I think I need Tanner Witt to have probably his best outing so far. And what I mean by that, I don't want everybody thinking Tanner Witt's going to go out there and throw that many pitches, because that'll never happen. My man is just coming off of Tommy John surgery. That young man was not. Yeah. So when he's coming out here and he's having his opportunity to pitch, I want him to do everything he can possibly do. But he has to get ahead. Remember what we were just talking about, first pitch strikes. The last couple times he's been a little amped up. He hadn't been as calm. He's been overthrowing a little bit, still trying to search for the strike zone. But I feel that he's going to have a better opportunity. Now, we have to make sure, too, when you look at our staff, and I'm using our because of Texas, I'm looking at our staff and I'm saying, okay, who's the first one off the bench? Who's the first guy that you need that can kind of stop the bleeding, if there is such a thing? And that is the biggest thing for me. I know we heard the name Zane Morehouse and what he's going to be able to do. He pitched well the other night. Yeah. He was throwing straight gasoline right there. I was very impressed with what he was doing. But they were talking about Matt Scott being the pitcher. Now, he's made 22 appearances, 12 of them he started, 66 innings, 56 hits, and they got a team batting average against him of 220. And he's right-handed. So that's the other part of it is, too. That's the other part. I need to see what's next for him. Are they going to be able to make the adjustment from the lefty coming back to now the right-hander and being able to see the baseball? Also, time of the game, too. This is later. Last night was, 8 o'clock? So we're going at 7 o'clock
so what
tonight.
is that?
So we got to look and see what the shade look
Shadows
like.
and
yeah.
stuff? Okay.
We got to see what the shadows look like. I was hoping they were going to play at 3 o'clock today, to be quite honest.
Why
with
is
you.
that?
Because I thought it would be a perfect time for them to be able to play. There would be no shadows. It would be all sun, and you would see every single pitch. They also talked about one of their bullpen guys, Braden Montgomery, number 6. He's the 4-hole hitter. He's the guy that's been DHing the switch hitter. That's the guy that I told you can throw up to 98, 99 miles per hour. He's normally a right fielder, but he's also a dual position player for Stanford. So he's another name that might be coming out of the bullpen as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm already a little nervous. It's already good. I hope the butterflies are butterflies and not the bubble guts. That's always the concern. But, yeah, Texas in a win-or-go-home situation, Game 3 versus Stanford. Real quick, let me ask you about LBJ's performance in Game 2 for Texas. He had 97 pitches in those 4 and a little over 4, I think it was a 4 and a third innings. 7 hits allowed, 4 runs. Do we think that's based on the pitch, like the high pitch count from him?
I thought so. Remember,
Okay.
I told y'all on Friday, I said the biggest thing for me is like, what
How
are
you
we going
recover?
to see? How's he going to recover?
Yeah.
And I thought he was fine. He still had good life on his pitches. He just wasn't spotting it. I thought he still had
Was
good
that-
life.
Is that ball placement?
Ball placement for sure, because he was missing down, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, guys like to leave the ball up, and as I said, you get dinged around a little bit. But his ball, he kept missing low, and I was like, man, he's holding on to it just a little bit too much, and it kept him in the game because when they did swing, they would pound it into the ground, get into some double plays, hit some weak ground balls, but he wasn't getting ahead early enough in the counts. And then when he did, he would always work it to a 3-2 count. And that's when you knew it was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to have it this game.
Yeah, man, you gotta have the stuff. Even Lucas Gordon was, a little shaky.
Yeah. 5
So-
2/3.
Yeah, he was a little shaky, and Texas found a way to shake that off and come up clutch. But that's what it's all about in the postseason, man. Your pitchers got to have their best stuff. Hopefully, that's the case for Texas on the mound today.
No
We'll
doubt.
talk some more about Texas baseball, of course. We'll do that in the 6 o'clock right before we give you up for Texas baseball with 6:45 pregame right here on 104.9 The Horn. We got the flex on the other side. We'll get into the flex and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We know Austin is a beautiful city. That's why we all call it home. And part of that that aesthetic appeal is thanks to our good friends at Ironworkers Local 482. Thanks to their skilled craftsmanship, they've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. That's a really long time. And you see the labors of their love all over this great city and iconic, exquisite landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so do our good friends at Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, maybe you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you, you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local Union 482, and you'll accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. Right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a lucky member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So maximize your potential today and be your best self. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick Place Jams intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who may have had a tough weekend. We'll get back to some sports conversation when we get to the 4 o'clock. We'll top of the 4 o'clock. We'll go behind the burn orange curtain. There's an article every year. There's an article usually from Athlon Sports as a part of their college football preview, where they speak to anonymous coaches from around the conference, and they talk to coaches about different programs. So we'll review what they said about Texas, the anonymous coaches. Speaking about Texas, also Pro Football Focus helping rank the best returning offensive lines in college football. We'll review that, and also more discussion. The rave reviews on Quinn Ewers. This time we have some details from Anwar Richardson, man. I like this.
Come on.
I like that Anwar Richardson report. There was a detail in there that people were that the Twitterverse got a hold of, we should say, that right now is kind of dominating the conversation about the Quinn Ewers offseason. So we'll get to that coming up in the top of the 4 o'clock. Let's get to the flex. FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. Go check it out. Up there, you have the 7-on-7, the latest 7-on-7 information. Also, there's information about the baseball state championship. Speaking of, Harge.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look for
Coach,
our folks across the street.
So Coach Blair ain't coming back on?
He would like to, but it's going to be in a different capacity because it will not be as a champion. Yeah, unfortunately on Friday night. By the way, I will give you this. The Westlake faithful, they definitely know how to party.
Oh, we know that.
They had it going on when I showed up to the Dell Diamond. The tailgates was going. It was outstanding. A big group of people.
Huge.
And if you went into the stadium, you saw that the third base side was full of Chaps Nation, Westlake Nation. They were all out there. But if you looked across the field, you saw our guy, Ike, with his Pearland Oilers as they came out there to
Icky Ike
was out there
H-Town,
representing. And once again, they went out there and did the doggone thing. Great pitching matchup, and Pearland was just better. Every ball that they hit had a little bit different sound than what the ones that Westlake was hitting, and the balls were flying all over the place. But great season by them. They won 40 games. Pearland ended up losing in the championship game to Flower Mound. My man Danny Wallace, who used to be a coach at Connolly, Pflugerville Connolly, and at Georgetown High School, went to Flower Mound, got his state championship. I saw him on Friday night. Couldn't be happier for him. Excuse me, for him. Great guy, and I'm proud of those guys. But great season for Westlake. It's over now. They had 24 seniors, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh,
so they got a lot to replace on that team. But what a great run for a lot of those kids. And a lot of those kids have played baseball together for a very, very long time.
Yeah, got some two-sport athletes on there, too.
Absolutely.
So some of those guys are done with all of their sports so far.
Yep.
And that's a nice run for them. But Pearland's community is just blowing up, too, though. It's got to be up there as one of the fastest-growing communities in Texas. And my brother lives in Pearland. They've been in some state titles now recently, or at least competing in some state titles. So they're on the come up. So nothing to be ashamed about. That's a good athletic department there in Pearland, the Pearland Oilers. Okay, we'll get to some other flex news tomorrow, of course. We got the Wednesday night flex, of course, too. But go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms, and you can go check out the latest on the flex. Can I read you guys a quote that I thought was pretty cool? It's about high school sports, but not particularly the flex area. There's a quote from an English teacher, basically, in I think out of New York, of all places, actually, that quoted. But basically, it's her own quote, but she was talking about high school education and compared it to football. And this is her quote, and it's honestly, I think it's pretty astute. Quote, "Football may be the best taught subject in American high schools because it may be the only subject that we haven't tried to make easy."
Wow. I like that.
Isn't that profound?
I like that.
And I think I agree.
What do we
I'm an
always say?
education major.
Simplify it.
I mean, I really do. I think she's right about that. And no, I think that she was being critical.
Right.
But I'm just looking at it like, oh, I think she might be right about that. Unfortunately, she's like,
I think she's definitely right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, interesting. All right. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there. All right. Let's get back to some sports talk. We'll go behind the burnt orange curtain here and talk about anonymous coaches and what they have to say about the Longhorns. Speaking of the Longhorn football team, Pro Football Focus ranked the offensive lines, and they are really high on the Texas O-line. We'll tell you how high on the other side. Also, talk about the rave reviews on Quinn Ewers. He's got something apparently that he didn't have last season. We'll tell you what it is right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here, and now's the time to be part of the Premier Rugby Sevens action. You could come out and party with the PR Sevens for the Eastern Conference kickoff on Saturday, June 17th at Q2 Stadium. PR Sevens, as it's known for short, is rugby for an American audience, featuring a predominantly North American player pool and competing in some of the best entertainment facilities across the country. You can catch professional rugby at its best. You can see the team, headliners, locals, and the men's and women's Team Texas battle for a spot in the championship. Don't miss our ultimate Fan Fest experience with fun, games, drinks, music, and so much more. And it's all happening, I think it's this Saturday. No, yes, it is. This Saturday, June 17th at Q2 Stadium. You can get your tickets today at pr7s.com. That's PR, the word 7s.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie, and that's when Patrick, the Idealionaire, plays songs that are intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who might have had a tough weekend. It was actually not a tough weekend for Texas baseball. Could have been a better weekend for Texas baseball, but hopefully it will be a great Monday because Texas baseball taking on Stanford tonight. You'll hear it live right here on 104.9 The Horn, 6:45 pregame. Craig Way on the call, and we'll break that down a little bit more for you. Speaking of hardball, breaks hardball down better than anybody I know. What you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
I'm going to talk a little bit more about the baseball that we saw this weekend as far as the Texas Longhorns, but I'm also going to talk about some of the teams that have made it to Omaha already.
Oh, I've been hearing about these Wake Forest Deacons.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
Grown folks.
Yeah.
Grown folks.
You're going to talk about them, I'm sure. but,
Older team, though. Remember that.
Oh, they really older team?
They're an older
okay.
team,
Vets.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got some fifth-year seniors on there.
Got quite a few.
Some COVID holdovers.
Yeah,
from
they made it
COVID
work
years.
for themselves.
Yeah, that's wild. But I love the stat you gave that out of Texas and Stanford. They'll
Yep.
be right.
The only ones returning back to Omaha from
great.
last year's team. The only people
great
that are
nugget.
probably upset were the people that had them shots. Remember, they were keeping the tally. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. LSU's coming. They're going to get that tally
what
for them
restaurant
shots.
was that? It's like a restaurant, right?
I think it was like a
And that's like
Italian restaurant.
That's one of their bits. And they're doing that again? Is that every year?
Yeah, I'm
Is it every
sure
year
it's going to
thing?
happen.
Well, yeah. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't it happen? They make
Here-
a ton of money on
and
people
here
buying
come-
lots of shots.
And here comes them Raging Cajuns.
Are they Jello shots or just regular shots? What are these shots? Do we know what
I
they
don't remember if they were regular shots or not.
were? Okay.
I think they were Jello shots.
I think they were Jello.
Yeah.
Jello's a little safer than regular shots.
No,
Oh,
I can't
is
do
it?
it.
Why? Well, because you can
No,
can
it
dilute
is.
them.
They're less alcoholic.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
think.
just regular shots. You take that, man, that's a lot of shots. The Jello shots, you can just put a little dab of alcohol in there, and nobody really, because you can't taste the alcohol in Jello shots anyway, unless you
Yeah.
put a gratuitous, copious amount in there, and then you're doing it wrong. You ain't supposed to make it taste
Yeah.
a lot of alcohol in your Jello shots. Now, come on.
Yeah.
No, you're supposed to be able to take a bunch of them
Yes,
and be like, I did like 20 Jello shots and not.
and not be falling over and
Yeah.
totally wasted.
The place is
Yes,
called
exactly.
Rocco's.
Yeah.
Rocco's.
Okay.
The
See?
Jello Shot Challenge. So, yes, it is
Okay, now
Jello
explain
shots.
the Jello shot challenge. Have the
So each team that comes in there,
Uh-huh.
whenever you got to take these shots. And last year, don't forget, Arkansas was by far.
So whoever fan base buys the most shots,
Yes.
that's who wins.
That's
their
who will
challenge.
win the challenge.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, this seems like only the bar wins here.
No doubt.
Well, and then people who don't actually buy it, you win too, because then you can just drink Jello shots.
You're
or
going to
take
be
Jell-O
right there with
the
your
whole
friends.
damn day. Just
with your
kicking it.
friends.
Yeah. Do y'all, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Texas Longhorn fans, I'm sure, will be.
They are ready
in the
to.
running
They're
there.
ready to be in the running
They're
right
ready
now.
to compete.
They need that.
Yes, we do. All right.
Yeah.
So a good mojo for Texas baseball. Hart's going to break that down a little bit more for you. The Rangers actually had dropped their series versus the Rays over the
Yes,
weekend.
they did.
That was in Florida, though, right? That was in Tampa.
That was in Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They're
I mean,
a good home team, by the
Exactly.
way.
Well, both of these teams are really good, but you're right. That's to me, if I'm a Rangers fan, that's
Yep.
nothing to be upset about. That's
Lock in.
That's team at the best start to any team in Major League Baseball, and as Harsh mentioned, they're a really good team on the road. All right, but we'll talk Texas baseball coming up later on, and we're going to talk about it in Harsh Knock Life coming up next segment.
By the way,
sorry.
Arkansas had 8,672 Jello shots last
Hold
year.
up, so how many again?
8,672. Yeah, that's how many they had.
How many did they consume?
$4.50 each.
Whoa, hold up, what?
Yeah, $4.50.
$4.50 for a Jello shot?
$4.50
per
yeah.
Jello shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they better have alcohol in it.
Yeah, now I'm gonna need my alcohol.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I thought it would be cheap.
Hold on.
It's supposed to be cheap.
Hold
because
on,
there's no alcohol
miscalculation
in
by
them.
your boy. Miscalculation.
Okay.
Oh no, it's still $4.50. But Ole Miss had 18,000. Yeah, 18,000 by Ole Miss.
I would love
last
to
year.
know how many they actually consumed out of 18,000. How many?
This is
It's what they
everything that is
consume
wrong
all
with
those.
college sports. Don't pay the players. Here, everybody, let's buy Jello shots with a $3.75 markup on them.
Yeah.
Easily. Easily.
These guys are buying boats because you got to prove that you like your just give the players the money.
Give the player.
Just give the players the money. Y'all serious with this?
Yeah. No, you're right.
The dumbest $4.50. I thought they were like $1 a piece.
No.
It's a brilliant idea by this restaurant or whatever.
Yes.
Brilliant idea.
And
by
they
them.
got- they
People
gave
with
them a
money will
bat.
always blow my mind.
And,
I
it's-
wouldn't
and it
order.
is a pizzeria. It is a pizzeria.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't order one if my friends were like, "Hey, we're all good." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." $4.50 for something I don't like anyway.
$4.50. That's pretty.
Give me a regular
hold on.
shot.
Has inflation hit that, or is that pre-inflation? That's pre.
That was last year.
That was last year.
That was last
Inflation's
season,
been
yeah.
going on. I wonder if that's going up a little bit.
Yep.
$4.50 though.
$4.50.
$4.50.
Yep.
Wow.
That is crazy.
I know Jello shots used to be fun because they were so cheap.
Yes.
It was like, 99-cent Jello shots. Let's do it.
See, somebody said went last year. It was a ripoff of $4.50.
Yeah,
It
hey
is
y'all.
true.
Any Texas, when Texas wins tonight, we're gonna say when Texas wins tonight.
I like
Yep,
that.
yep.
When y'all go, no shots, not one.
Too late.
Don't
They
buy
doing it.
one.
They're
Don't
doing
buy
it.
a single place
Nah,
for this.
man, they
This
doing
is
it.
horrible. Texas won fund. Give us some better athletes. Let's go
There
win
you
a
go.
national championship.
Great point.
Instead of you want to win this or the national championship?
Texas
One
One
Fund.
Fund.org.
Come on.
.org.
TexasOneFund.org. Patrick, that's a great commercial. I'm sure that
Come on.
Wills appreciates that, man. That's a great commercial.
Great.
Lord. You're right about. I totally agree with Patrick's stance there.
Hey, do I want a 5-star recruit or this stupid restaurant to be buying a yacht because we drink the most of a bad drink?
Yeah, no, a terrible drink actually too. Man, wow. Okay, anyway, glad we got educated on that.
No doubt.
We'll talk some more College World Series and talk about how Texas is gonna win Game 3 of that series versus Stanford in the Super Regionals. All right, let's get into this story. It originally comes from Athlon Sports, but I got it via 247 Sports because they are the ones who were able to kind of extrapolate this from their preview, because they do previews for every team around the country, and they do a really extensive one. So they basically get anonymous coaches from the different, conference teams to talk about one another. And here is what the conference anonymous coach had to say about Texas. Quote, "They could get scared good if Quinn Ewers plays the way he's capable of. They're really close to connecting it all on offense and playing up to that standard of a Sark team. Losing Bijan is a serious blow, no doubt, but this is the kind of scheme and the kind of roster where you just adjust to the other talent. You don't try to fill a hole. There's so much talent there at tight end and receiver that they're going to burn some teams." End quote. Can I go back to one part of this?
Come on.
It says they're really close to connecting it all on offense and playing up to that standard of a Sark team. What's the standard of a Sark team?
I mean,
He's like he won
I
like
kn-
50. No, I'm not.
I
Trying
know
to
you're
think
not.
of-
I know you're not
I'm
going
like,
that
what
coach,
are-
Steven. I know.
It's like, what are they talking about a Sark team? We're betting on Sark that he is about to flourish, that he is about to hit kind of the zenith of his skill set as a coach, right? That's what we're betting on, that Texas talent with the support, with the holy trinity of Hartzell and Kevin Eltife and CDC behind him, that now he'll start to become the elite coach that he's capable of being. He's got that raw skill set. But, I mean, he's like a 55% win coach.
I think
So
what they're trying to say.
Team.
I think it's when he was the offensive coordinator for Alabama.
That's
I think
not a
that's
Sark
what,
team. That's a Saban team.
but it's his Sark offensive team.
Oh, man.
Maybe that's. I'm trying to help him out.
I know.
I'm trying
What are
to
you
help
talking
him
about
out.
Sark team? We don't want no.
Yeah.
We don't want that. We want something we haven't seen from Sark yet.
I knew it. I knew that's
Right?
where it was going.
Something we have
I
not
knew it.
seen from him
Yeah.
yet, which is him now taking transcending to the next level as a coach, and now a coach that can not only compete for a championship, but that can beat other elite coaches and win the chess match within the game. That is what he's not proven yet. So obviously I'm being a little nitpicky, but just standard of a Sark team.
Yeah.
No, standard of Texas football. Well, when Sark can live up to the standard of Texas football, which is playing for championships. Standard of Sark, what are you talking with? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's not
I'm
won
gonna go
double-digit
soon
games
as-
as coach.
I'm going to go standard of Sark as an offensive coordinator
That's
at
what I was
USC
saying.
and Alabama.
Yes.
That's where
Okay.
I was going. And Atlanta. Atlanta's offense was pretty potent too.
They were with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. Well, he had
They were
he had
okay.
some love too.
You know, he
They
did
were
real
okay
good,
there, but that was when they were starting to go down, and that's when Dan
Yes.
Quinn got fired in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the offense is now I'm gonna sound like Mike McCarthy here. The offense can be great. But I want to win some games.
Yeah.
I want the W's, baby.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. The W's. At this
Just
point,
win the games.
You lead the country in scoring and win 8 games, and your job is on the line
Very true.
here at Texas. That's the
Very true.
reality.
Yeah.
All right, you win 10 games, compete for a Big 12 title, and you're top 20 in scoring. Everybody's like, great year, awesome year. Let's sign them. Let's re-sign them. Sign them to an extension. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
With the Jokic mentality.
Yes.
Hey, you got a
I don't
30,
care
20,
what
10.
happens. Let's
I
just
don't
win.
care.
That's right.
Give me the dub.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm kind of, so I know the offense is going to look great. I think the offense is really going to be potent. But let's try to win these games. Let's get the dubs.
That's where I'm at with that. And
Yeah.
so when you hear about that, and this is something that you've been talking about for quite some time, they've been saying that they're close to hitting those passes really because we've been missing the deep ball.
Yeah.
And if they get the speed right and they get things lined up, this team can be very exciting to watch. At times last year, it was exciting to watch. Now you're going to have to adjust, and we believe that they can when you don't have Bijan. But you also look at this team and you say, there's plenty of weapons. I know we hadn't really got into the conversation, but A.D. Mitchell has been a problem already
Yes, he
on
is.
campus.
Yep.
You got X-Man who we found out late in the year he got a busted hand, but his hand seems to be healthy. I've seen the videos. I've seen videos of what young Jonte Cook has been able to look like
he
at
looks good.
practice.
I like him.
And then you're also talking about Isaiah Nayor. I mean, and let's not forget, our man JT Sanders ranks number 2 behind Brock Bowers at tight end. So you have plenty of weapons, those weapons that you've seen at USC and you've seen at Alabama. Now let's see if we can get it to all mesh, because those teams, the one thing about those teams we were talking about, Alabama and USC, they had veteran and great quarterback play.
Yeah. Great
So-
part. Yeah, that's going to be – I know I totally agree with the statement here that Texas is going to go as far as Quinn Ewers, right?
Yep.
Texas' ceiling is based on the ceiling of Quinn Ewers.
100%.
It's just that simple as a team. And I think we all believe that Quinn Ewers' ceiling is really high and that he's going to take an exponential leap from last year to this upcoming year. And he has to, because Texas won't have, they won't have Bijan, they won't have Rojo. So you won't have your best leader. He's at the natural leadership position, so he has to be the leader whether he wants to or not. He's the guy that everybody's going to look to. And in addition to that, your best player, who's also one of your best leaders, but Rojo was the leader. But on top of that, your best player, which is Bijan, you lost him. And like I said, the last time I saw that running game without Bijan
Yep.
and without Rojo, your best player and your best leader, I mean, you average less than 3 yards per carry. Now, I know there were extenuating circumstances and injuries, and I get all that, but I'm going to need Sark to up his game and add more innovation and creativity. And even though you lose Bijan and Rojo, you lose the training wheels on the offense, the running game cannot take a precipitous drop off a cliff. Cannot nosedive. It cannot be a non-factor in the game. Doesn't need to be elite like it was last year on the Bijan and Rojo. No. But it still has to provide balance to the offense and help out Quinn Ewers when the offense is becoming too predictable. So there's a lot. Honestly, the 2 biggest strides that need to be made for Texas to win a Big 12 title and to be in a national discussion, all right, for the playoff would be, because they win a Big 12 title, they should be at least in that discussion. It's going to be Sark taking his game to the next level and Quinn Ewers taking his game to the next level, and they are inextricably linked.
That is very true.
They are that's it. If Sark goes to the next level, so does Quinn, and then Texas will, as no question they will. But and I always give this stat. If you look at Sark versus coaches that win 60% of their games, that's to get to the Hall of Fame. You
That's
gotta
the
win
judgment
at
area.
least 60% of the games. That means they consider a good coach. All right, they'll probably have to change that for Mike Leach. He's at 59.5. They probably should just round on up. But and Sark is right below that. So Sark is creeping his way up to getting in that category. But when he faces coaches who win 60% of their games, his winning percentage is around 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And when he faces coaches that win less than 60% of their games, his winning percentage is around 75%. He's got to learn how to win the chess match within the game versus really good coaches. All right?
Yep.
And when he faces really good coaches, that's where he struggles at times, is the chess match. Gundy, good coach, right? Go look at, hell, if he Kleiman, damn good coach.
Champion coach.
Yeah, but he beat Kleiman.
Yeah,
But, you know what I mean?
But it's still, you got to be on your A game against him.
Well, and the way he won those games was just kind of giving it to Bijan and giving it to Rojo, which, hey, that's fine. That's a great way to do it. But he won't have those cheat codes.
Right.
He won't have, that luxury next season, and he's going to have to up his game in order for Texas to become a Big 12 title contender. So I'm looking forward to it. I do think I know it's in Sark's skill set, and I know it's in Quinn Ewers' skill set. Will it materialize on the field? That's why we play the game.
I do believe it will materialize on the field, and I think, too, a lot of these guys are looking at this run of what's next for us and wanting that experience. We've talked about Jordan Whittington coming back and talking about the only thing I don't have, I need to get that Big 12 championship. I need to make sure that we're playing for that Big 12 championship. So the mindset is something that I'm excited about. But, again, it's all a matter of what we're going to see on the field. Got to get to the field to see it. But if Pro Football Focus, who I have a little bit of discrepancy with every once in a while, I know we're going to talk about that in just a minute, talks about our offensive line. You talk about the fact of what is expected from Quinn Ewers. And, of course, you talk about Coach Sark and the play calling ability that needs to adjust in the second half. Let's see what happens there.
Yeah, and this is something that if it wasn't a strength for Texas, it could cause a regression. But everybody also is expecting the Texas offensive line this year to take a leap in development, and it's because you had a lot of youth and inexperience on that line last year. You had 2 freshmen starting, and you bring back the entire offensive line. So Pro Football Focus helped out 24/7 Sports via, I think his name is Grant Hughes, and he ranked the top 10 returning offensive lines in the country based on the Pro Football Focus advanced analytics. And just giving you the top 10 real quick, starting at 10. He's got Utah at 10, the Utes. K-State at 9. That's dangerous. He's got Penn State at 8, LSU at 7, Notre Dame at 6, Oregon State at 5. He's got Bama. Texas will face Bama early on in the season at number 4. And their left tackle, though, is a bit of a question mark. And that, to me, that's the anchor of your offensive line usually. So they do bring back, I think, 3 starters on the offensive line, but they don't really know who their left tackle is going to be. That can be a problem. They got a competition there. At number 3, they have the Texas Longhorns, behind only the Georgia Bulldogs, the defending national champions, and the Michigan Wolverines, who are they are the defending Joe Moore award-winning offensive line, which is basically the award given to the best offensive line in the country as a unit, as a group. So, Harsh, they got Texas 3rd best offensive line returning in the country. Big part of that being, Kelvin Banks, of course, probably the biggest part of that because last year he made a lot of money as a freshman, and if he's going to improve, I mean. It's going to be scary how good he's going to be in just a couple of years.
I can't wait.
He faced Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, Will McDonald, and Felix Anudike Uzoma. They were all first-round picks. And when he faced those players, he allowed 0 sacks, 4 pressures, and 0 penalties. In all,
And 0 penalties.
0 penalties. In all, he allowed just 12 pressures and 4 sacks on the season as a true freshman. Big things expected out of him. Christian Jones had a really good season, allowed only 12 pressures and 3 sacks. So right now, and by the way, a lot of guys behind these younger players like DJ Campbell, a lot of these other players are expected to step up potentially and add even more depth on that offensive line.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the fact of the matter is, you still, to your point, he played 858 snaps, Kelvin Banks, that is. We knew when he walked into campus, when we heard of his work ethic, we knew that young man was going to be ready to go and ready to roll. Just didn't know how soon or how late he was going to be in the game. But once he got in there, he entrenched himself. Christian Jones moving to right tackle. That was a big move for him because he was much maligned when he was first playing because everybody was like, why is he on the line? Why is he on the line? And then he wins the job at the right tackle, and everybody's trying to figure out why. And then all of a sudden, he goes out there and he plays well. Why aren't they giving those young kids a chance? This because this man right here is handling his business and he wants to stay here. So I'm really excited to see what this team can do. Hayden Conner and Cole Hudson are two of the players that obviously need to improve, and that's where we're looking at the development. Remember, we talked about development and what we've had an opportunity to see, and now is another step to see how well this team develops right away.
Yeah, it's the offensive line. Like I said, they have so much talent they've accumulated. I think they've recruited and signed 12 offensive linemen in the last 2 classes. We haven't seen the offensive line for Texas this robust with depth probably since the mid 2000s. I mean, that's just the reality of it because they got just a ton of really talented guys, and the development for Texas, knock on wood, has been really good. At least last season, it was really good. And to me, that's why there's not a lot of factors that could throw off this offense or that could cause it to spiral or go off track. You really do have high caliber talent at almost every position on the offense now, and you got a high caliber play caller in Sark. So I don't. Other than the running game, that's one thing. Maybe the running game doesn't work as well without Bijan Rojo, and if the offensive line regresses, and like I said, the Quinn Ewers and the Sark question is out there too. But right now, Texas will have one of the most potent and prolific offenses in the country. Speaking of Quinn Ewers, before we get to Harsh Knock Life, a shout out to Anwar Richardson. I believe he's the one that had this report out there. But he threw something out there from Orange Bloods over the weekend. And Anwar Richardson's claiming, I'll read you the tweet. He said, I was told Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers continues to kill this offseason. One source described Ewers as, quote, shredded after seeing him recently and said the quarterback has a six-pack. There you go, Harsh.
Man putting in work.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put in that work.
In addition, Ewers currently weighs 210 pounds. He was listed at 204 in the spring game. So he's putting on weight, but also got the six-pack.
Shredding that weight.
He's got the six-pack.
Yeah.
In your opinion, will the six-pack make him a better quarterback?
No, it's got to be his footwork. What did they say about his footwork? What did they say about his footwork?
No, there was no report from Anwar about the footwork. Just a lot of talk about the six-pack.
That's all I'm looking for. I'm trying to make sure my man got good footwork over there.
He's trying to get the summer bod. I get it.
Hey, it's going to
be at the pool.
Oh, going to be
out.
at the pool. He's going to be on the lake.
He's going to be on the lake. All the ladies know who Quinn Ewers is.
Yes.
Cut the mullet off, so he's a lot more clean-shaven now.
Oh, yeah.
And, hey, nothing attracts the ladies on the lake like a six-pack.
Nothing to see here.
Both, literally. The six-pack, both of them. You have a six-pack with a six-pack, and she'll be all over you. So I think that's Quinn Ewers' formula there. So I'm happy he's got the six-pack working good for him.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. I'm happy to hear that, man, but I want to see what the footwork looks like.
You don't give a damn about the six-pack?
Nah.
The footwork?
Yeah, just all about the footwork.
All right.
Means he's going to be able to take a hit. It means he'll be able to take a hit. He got
the core.
Yeah.
Helps out the core.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be able to take
strength,
a hit.
Man.
There it is.
Man, it's all good.
Make sure you get them feet working so you can plant yourself to make a good throw.
So you would take love handles and a little bit of a gut with awesome footwork.
Hey, look at Jared Lorenzen.
I thought you were going with that Mac Jones picture.
Oh, yeah.
The title.
I probably should have did that.
Go look at Tom Brady early on.
Yeah.
Now, Tom Brady's a lot more shredded now than he was when he came into the league.
He came in with the work. So they were ready for the work.
Give me the gut, the dad bod, and the love handles with the great footwork.
And the accuracy.
Over the six-pack.
Exactly.
Sorry, I agree with you on
good.
that one.
That's good for a conversation, but what happens when he don't throw no touchdown? Y'all going to be mad at him.
Hey, the ladies will appreciate the bread after you get drafted really high because of your great footwork over the six-pack.
No doubt.
With bad footwork, and then you drop in the draft.
Exactly.
See,
because go look at
Will Levis.
There you go. Perfect example.
The good news is they are not mutually exclusive.
No,
you can't have both.
You can't have both. It's
That's
a lot
right.
of hard work to keep both.
It is a lot.
To keep the six-pack and the footwork.
You can't have both.
Yeah.
If you got to choose, Quinn, choose the footwork.
Choose the footwork.
If you're choosing about, like, hey, should I do some 6 inches or should I, should I do some ab exercises here? Maybe I'm going to do some planking exercises. No. Choose footwork instead.
Yes.
Maybe
That's what I'm looking for.
Maybe that's why the better quarterbacks have a little bit of a gut. It's like they had to choose footwork or abs, and they chose footwork.
I need my footwork to be right.
I agree with you on that, though. I think you're right, Harge.
Yep.
You know what? Now I don't like that report from Anwar.
Exactly.
I don't like your report, Anna Richardson. You should have reported about foot. Why is he choosing to do abs over footwork?
I need to know what the footwork look like.
Who cares about your abs, Quinn? Who cares about your abs, man?
The
Nobody.
ladies.
No, to hell with them ladies. They will all love you when you win
Touchdowns.
games, throwing touchdowns,
That's right.
and drafted in the first round. And
Boom.
that's footwork.
I like it.
not abs.
I like it.
Okay, so we all agree we don't like that report.
I don't like that report. I need to know what the footwork look like.
Anwar, we need another one about that footwork.
Hey, someone get him some queso. Get some footwork.
Exactly. All right, what you got coming up on Harsh Doc Life?
We're going to talk a little bit of baseball. We got the Longhorns getting ready to play and some milestones that have happened in Major League Baseball as well.
Yeah, like this text says, like Dame Lillard said about the Joker, don't get athleticism twisted with body composition. Yeah, there you go, Texter.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, we'll be right back with Harsh Doc Life on Ball Don't Lie, 104 down the horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here, and let me tell you about our friends at Apple Leasing, and you need friends like our friends over at Apple Leasing as well. We know trying to get a new car, although the experience can be satisfying once you get that brand new car with that brand new car smell, it can also be a stressful process. It can be time consuming. All right, it can take a lot of energy and effort to find the car that's perfect for you and your family. Also to find the price and the payment that's right for you and your budget. Well, how about this? How about you reach out to our friends at Apple Leasing, 512-346-9977, or go online at appleleasing.com, and you let them know what price and what payment you're willing to pay. You let them know what kind of car you want, SUV or a sedan, what car is best for you and your family. And once you give them all the details, they'll do all the rest. They'll do all the hard work. They'll take the stress out of that process for you. And all you got to worry about is enjoying your brand new car smell. That's what Apple Leasing is about. They want you to have that satisfaction, and they've been doing business here in Austin for almost 40 years because they do it the right way. And somebody who knows that is my man, Mike Hard.
That's right. No pressure. That's right. There is no pressure when you go over to Apple Leasing. You tell them the make, the model, what your value of your trade-in is. They will walk you through the entire process. And everybody understands that you're busy. It's a hustle and bustle. You're trying to get to your next spot. Don't worry about it. They do all the work for them. You tell them what you want, tell them the make, tell them the model. They'll go find it for you, whether they have it here or they'll go and get it. That's the beautiful thing about the folks over at Apple Leasing. They are here to cater to you. We've talked about this numerous times, and when we talk to Scott Crossett, all he does is lease cars and make friends. Well, he's got a friend in me because I've gotten 3 vehicles from him, and I'm looking forward to getting another one. So do yourself a favor. Go over to appleleasing.com. You can get a quote. You can also look at that pre-owned inventory and see what it is that you like. I did it, and you can too. Go to appleleasing.com today or give them a call at 512-346-9977, and they'll walk you through it. appleleasing.com. Welcome back to a Top of the Chart Tuesday edition of Ball Don't Lie. It's your boy Hardball Hard. You can follow me on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can follow my man Rod Babers at Rod Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show, and we've actually been enjoying some of your texts that have been coming across. A lot of people are saying that they're not happy about that report on his abs either. They were like, I want to make sure that we win games, so I don't care about no six-pack. Let's make that happen. Hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776.
Did you just say it was Tuesday?
I said I thought. Oh, it sure did. I sure
Hey,
did.
man, we all want it to be Tuesday and
Goodness
Monday.
gracious,
Well,
man, how did I skip a whole Monday?
The whole day. I was like, I feel that. I was like, it's Tuesday?
Excuse me, Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. I felt like some of those songs felt like they were at the top of the chart.
That's probably it. There you go.
That's
Probably
what we're
could've
talking
been.
about.
Probably could've
Yeah,
been.
Smooth
You
Soul
was
Monday.
trying to trick all of us into not showing up in a few days
Yeah,
back. You show up
yeah.
on tomorrow and be like, it's Thursday.
And
Let's just
Texas
get-
baseball must have won.
Oh, that's right. There it is.
That's
That
the
means we're
one.
going to be talking
There you
about
go.
a lot of stuff if that goes down. So I appreciate everybody that hits us up on the Specs text line as well. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of things have been going on in the baseball realm, especially in the college baseball, where everybody's trying to make it to the College World Series. A lot of big games have been going on all weekend. We've had a lot of teams already advance to the regional. I'll get into Wake Forest in just a minute, but Florida advances by winning their super regional in Gainesville by beating South Carolina in 2 games, 5-4 and 4-0. Florida gets to the College World Series, and they're another team that has a bunch of guys that are going to expected to get drafted later on this year. Later on in the next month or so. Clarksville, Virginia. Virginia beats Duke. They had to go 3 games. Duke was eliminated. Virginia goes back to the College World Series where they won it not too long ago, as a matter of fact. Virginia's been one of those teams that has started to turn the tide where they are consistently showing up in Omaha. Oral Roberts goes and defeats Oregon in some games that were highly contested. And just like the Texas baseball game, there were some walk-offs that were involved in those situations where they weren't expected to win. They were down, and they come back and win. Oregon takes game 1, 9-8. Oral Roberts wins 8-7. And then in the elimination game, Oral Roberts wins 11-6. Oregon was the team that was supposed to win out of there, but Oral Roberts, their magical season continues. Indiana State was defeated by TCU. TCU advances. They won both games 4-1 and 6-4. And remember, Indiana State was supposed to host that regional, but because they had the Special Olympics that were going on in their home city, they were not going to be able to accommodate everybody. So they gave TCU the regional, and TCU said, thank you, but y'all got to go home now. So they're going to Omaha. Good job by Coach Sarlos. And remember, they had a spell where they were not playing good baseball early and getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
TCU was the preseason favorite to win the Big 12. Didn't end up winning it, but they got hot at the right time, won the Big 12 tournament, got into the regional, and now they are headed to Omaha. Wake Forest, whoo!
That's crazy, man.
They beat the snot out of Alabama in a 1-16 super regional. Wake Forest wins the first game 5-4.
Yeah.
But the second game they beat them 22-5. And I mean home run after home
But they have
run
9 of
after home. Yes, home run after home run. And here's something too. I looked at this just a little while ago. In the Wake Forest regional, they outscored their opponents. Between the regional and the super regional, they've outscored their opponents 64-16. 64-16. They became LSU was the number 1 team for most of the year. Wake Forest took that over near the end of the season, and now they look every bit of it. And here's the caveat to all of that. The winner of tonight's game between Stanford and Texas plays Wake Forest in the first round
Just great.
of the College World Series.
That's perfect.
They're on the same
perfect.
side,
So
and
that-
so that's who they get. So the winner of this game,
We'll play the hottest, maybe the best team in the postseason.
yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
thanks.
And shout out to Baton Rouge. They are ready to turn up over there. LSU beat Kentucky. First game 14-0. Second game 8-3. Paul Skeens looked immaculate. He, too, pitched a lot of pitches, and people were mad about Paul Skeens. Skeens don't care. He wants to win, and that's what it was all about. So he goes out there and pitches his best. And then yesterday, Dylan Cruz, being Dylan Cruz, the prohibited favorite to be the number 1 overall draft pick, was walked 3 times, came up in a situation where there was runners in scoring position, and what does he do? Hit a double, drive in all the runs. So that is what you do when you're projected to be one of those big-time players. The last 2 teams that need to get in, Texas Longhorns. That's right, I said it, Texas Longhorns. And I'm going to go with Tennessee tonight. I think they're going to beat Southern Miss. Southern Miss and Tennessee, I think Tennessee wins that game. Tennessee lost game 1, 5-3, but then they came back and won game 2. And now 8-4, and now they will take on Southern Mississippi tonight at 5 o'clock on ESPN2. I was just trying to make sure because all the times are listed in Eastern time.
You have to say,
so I've been in different time zones. That's right. Because don't forget, Texas is on the other coast, and their time is different as well. So we're sitting here trying to figure that out. But a lot of great baseball is being played, and I know a lot of people are still talking about the pitch count on Quinn Matthews yesterday. If Quinn Matthews wanted to come out of the game, he would have been taken out of the game. Quinn Matthews did not want to come out because he didn't know what was left in his bullpen because he saw what happened where guys were having trouble throwing strikes, and he decided that he did not want to participate in that. So I'm staying in the game, and I'm making things happen. And I want to change the subject for just a little bit. Andrew McCutchen. If you've been paying attention, he was a Pirate, and he's been moved around, played with different teams, but now he's back being a Pirate, and he collected his 2,000th hit the other night. And I just want to talk about this just a little bit because for me, watching some of these young men go out there and chase their dreams and being a part of it, and we're hearing all these stories, and Andrew McCutchen loved the city of Pittsburgh, and the city of Pittsburgh loved him. And he got a chance to go back there. He is 5 home runs away from being just the 19th player in history of 1,000 runs, 2,000 hits, 10,000 RBIs, 300 home runs, and 200 stolen bases.
Wow.
9 of the current 18 players are in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's a good stat.
Yeah, and I believe
I like that.
he is definitely a player that will be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's been very, very talented. He's been a major part of that city's success. When they decided to turn it around, when they started struggling and losing all those games, he was part of that group that decided, nah, we're about to make some history. And they started playing well. And then he came back, and he's just doing his part, being a veteran in that clubhouse, helping these guys out, but most importantly, being that leader that a lot of this young talent that they have in that Pirates organization, he keeps talking about it and doing good things as well.
That's impressive. That's a great stat.
Yeah,
I'm
very impressed.
Right there.
I'm very impressed with the way his career has gone
nugget.
and what he's been able to do over that short period of time. Now, I know a lot of people are asking me what I think about tonight's game. Tonight's game is going to be definitely a situational baseball game. I think if you get runners on the bases early, you bunt them over. You move the ball around. You make Stanford have to make plays every single time. And the top of the lineup, we went through the numbers earlier, and shout out to my man, Occupy Left Field, Mark Pena.
Shout out.
He posted that the top of the lineup has been in a struggle, and it is 100% true. From the top of the lineup, from 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are 3 of 30. 3 of 30, and not being able to score the runs, because when the top of the order is going and gets it going, it's a lot of fun baseball for the Texas Longhorns. It starts with Jared Thomas at the top and goes all the way down to my man Garrett Gilmet. G-Wagon. He's back in Cali, and he needs to make sure that he goes out there and does his thing. He's done a great job behind the plate. He had to put in a lot of work last night with my man LeBaron Johnson, LBJ. We were singing his praises last week, but he struggled a little bit to be consistent in the strike zone. And when you're not throwing strikes, it makes it easy for the opposing teams to get certain pitches to where they are. But shout out to Quinn Matthews, 9 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs. 1 walk in 16 Ks, 156 pitches. And, Rod, you gave the first pitch strikes, but he threw out of 156 pitches, he threw 103 pitches for strikes. And his swing and miss rate was off the chart because that changeup, he could throw it on any part of the strike zone, and he could throw it in any count. That's the part that people, oh, man, why are we chasing that? I'm like, they were thinking it was a fastball count. He got a changeup. He was able to throw that anytime he wanted to. And like when you can go from 93 to 80 from the left side, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. He had a great game yesterday.
Working paint any corner.
Man.
Both sides.
Both sides.
Got 4 pitches he can throw, all of them at right. But basically, he's excellent at throwing. How rare is that to be excellent at throwing 4 pitches?
I mean, sometimes you just got it that day. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you lean on certain pitches, and I felt like he was leaning on that changeup more than anything. That changeup was deadly because it looks like a fastball. And he was dropping it from 10 to 13 mile per hour difference. Because as soon as you sit on that changeup and you got 2 strikes and he run that fastball in on you, that fastball actually looks like it's coming in 93, but it looks like it's coming in 99.
You're right. Yeah, and then if you can't identify, it's too late once you identify what it is.
It's like, fouling it off.
That's why you look all clumsy trying to swing at it.
You saw a couple of those swings yesterday where guys were looking for that changeup, and then he ran a fastball in on him, almost handcuffed himself a couple times.
Yeah, and when you're, like you said, when you're dealing like that, your selection is easy as a pitcher.
Yeah.
Because I'm on everywhere.
I'm on everywhere.
It's all on.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. So hopefully, Texas will be much better at the top of that order. That's I cannot believe that. Did you say 3 of 30?
3 of 30.
That stands out considering how, because we talked about this. Remember going into the postseason, I believe it was, they had 6 players who were all batting 300.
Over 300.
And a lot of those guys at the top of the order.
They were. Yeah, 1 through 6.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, come on, guys. But the bottom of the order was doing their job. They were hitting the ball hard, putting the ball in play, making the defense work. But they got to get it all going tonight. And I know a lot of people are saying he did it all week, and I got a chance to watch him pitch. I got a chance to watch Quinn Matthews pitch here at the Round Rock Classic. And he pitched against Arkansas when Arkansas was the number 1 team in the nation. He pitched so well that they were frustrated the entire game, and I was shocked at how effective that young man was that early. Because 2 years ago, he's a freshman, and he was out there dealing.
And he's recovery.
Yeah.
He's like
rubber band man.
He's like Wolverine out there.
Rubber band man.
How's your arm recover? Like in the last 10 days, he's pitched 336 pitches.
330.
What the?
Yeah.
He's
taking care of himself. He's doing his thorough bands.
Yeah, I would love to know what his regimen is. Like, what he does.
A lot of cryo, probably.
Yeah.
We have a question. Does he have a 6-pack?
Because you get it from your core. You get it from your core.
He may need it. Right. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I'm not underestimate the impact of the 6-pack if he's got one. All right. Good stuff there, man. Good breakdown.
I loved it.
All right, we come back. We'll get into off the record. We got some baseball-related off-the-record stuff. We'll also dive deep into a couple of NBA-related off-the-record topics. So we'll do a little smorgasbord of off the record right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
Hey, folks, guess what day it is? You got it. It's Gourmet Burgers Day. That's right, over at The League. That's right, The League Kitchen and Tavern specializes in chef-inspired comfort food that is made from scratch at all 4 area locations: Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Belterra, and Lakeway. And we just talked about it. Today is Burger Monday. That's right, you get 2 burgers for the price of 1. Get over there and get those burgers. The League offers fresh chef-inspired monthly specials as well, and you compare those with the cocktail of the month. It's the Mai Tai, the Lee Kitchen and Tavern with 4 Austin area locations. Lunch and dinner are just around the corner from you. You can browse the monthly menu and specials at leekitchen.com. That is leekitchen.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. A couple of off-the-record topics to address really quickly. Okay, guys, apparently the beatdown the Denver Nuggets put on the Miami Heat was not the only beatdown that happened at Game 4 in Miami, because the mascot for the Miami Heat, who they have not revealed this person's name. The mascot is Bernie. They have not revealed the person who actually is in the mascot costume, but they had a bit planned with Conor McGregor. during, I believe this was it's one of the intermissions of the game, maybe at halftime. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure exactly when it was. Actually, it was during a timeout, 7:35 left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Boom. So that was the intermission. And apparently, during one of those intermissions, according to multiple sources, and there's a video of it too, Conor McGregor maybe, was overacting and overreacting potentially in this skit that was planned, because he hit the mascot so hard that the mascot had to be taken to the hospital. Now, in the video, he does hit him twice. He hits him initially, knocks the mascot off his feet, while mascot on the ground on his back, hits the mascot again in the face of the mascot costume. So I don't know exactly where he would have hit the person inside of the mascot costume, but he hit him pretty hard.
It had to be the face.
Well, he went to the hospital. It says, according to the league source briefed on the matter, the man was given pain medication by the doctor and was sent home and is doing well. But he had to go to the hospital.
Is he going to make the trip?
Usually they got more than one person that plays the mascot, I believe.
I
It's
mean,
multiple
normally
people that
I
do it.
want
but
you
also-
to know that I am not a quitter. I'm showing up in the game.
But also, mascots don't travel all the time.
That's a good point, too. Not all
Because
of them travel.
It's a
the other-
championship version,
yeah,
though.
but the other
That's
team
true.
does not really care about you that much.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
the other fan base is going to be like, get at it. We hate you.
Yeah,
You're
there's
the
no
bad guy.
There's no sideline space for you. Like,
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's
So,
I
yeah,
thought
no,
about
he's
that.
he's at home convalescing, like, just close it out. I don't want to go back to work.
Oh, man. So, Conor McGregor here, gentlemen, how did this happen? Like, how does this happen?
Sometimes you.
Is he just in character that much? Just in character?
No, I mean, but come on, man. I mean, we know that you can knock people out.
Yeah, your hands are weapons.
Yes.
They are certified
registered.
weapons.
Yes.
Yeah, you could kill a man with your hands.
You are not supposed to be striking
Well,
people.
maybe- yeah,
I know
yeah.
it's part of the bit, but when does the bit need to stop?
He
After he falls the first time and then you hit him,
That was
you don't
crazy.
have to drive through his face through the floor.
He did punch him in the face on the
Yes.
floor.
Yeah, my
Yes.
guess is that there's a massive lack of communication between the mascot people and Connor's people. And they were like, okay, Connor's going to come in, and then he's going to throw a few punches, and and then he'll go back. And in their head, they're saying, yeah, these are worked punches. You're just going to, we're going to play around. And then his people was like, you know what, Connor, you're going to go in there and punch him. Connor goes, okay, I know how to punch people. And at no point did they ever have the conversation, hey, man, it's all for show.
They didn't rehearse it. Like, punch me here.
Yeah,
like,
and
how
and pull
wrestlers do
your
it.
punch.
Yeah, like punch me here, not here in the face. Like, that's a good point though. He probably didn't even know where he punched him potentially
Yeah,
on the
my guess is
mascot
he's
uniform.
he's in the front row, and they're like, we're gonna call you up. We're gonna do this
Yeah.
little bit because I've seen it. Like the Spurs have done it
I've
with
seen it
with
too.
pro wrestlers too. Because like if WWE was gonna be in town, they have one of the guys come down.
Mark Henry's probably done it.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
has.
he has. He does.
I know.
Yeah.
I know he's done it at least with the Rockets
Okay.
because I've seen the video of that one. But but you like the Coyote, and they come out, and the Coyote come out and try and fight back, but that was. It's normally it works, but I guess getting an MMA guy, but also Miami guys,
Yeah.
don't get an Irish guy right after you beat the Celtics. It's a bad image. He's not a Miami guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point too. He's not a Miami guy. I guess he's just a
I
wrestler.
mean, he was wearing
you
a
know,
red
or
outfit,
MMA
but that was
fighter. They probably because I guess Mark Henry's not associated with Houston. They had him doing it, so he's just whatever
Yeah.
wrestlers in town or whatever
Yeah.
Yeah.
fighters in town. Yeah, that's a weird story. Another weird story that happened over the weekend. Hard, you sent this one, and this was crazy too, but it was actually pretty funny. I love the videos that have come out. So the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
Had a winner, and it was Adam Hadwin who won the Canadian. Sorry, Nick Taylor won the
Nick
Canadian
Taylor,
Open.
yeah.
And his friend, fellow Canadian Adam Hadwin, wanted to go celebrate with him after he sunk a 72-foot putt.
Beautiful putt.
Yeah, it was like a magnificent putt.
Yeah.
To become the first Canadian since 1954 to actually win the Canadian Open. So they're really excited. So this is a big deal in Canada. So the fellow Canadians wanted to celebrate. So Canadian Adam Hadwin runs over, trying to basically with some champagne. He's about to douse him in champagne.
That
Like, hey, we're
bottle
celebrate.
popping.
And then the security guard he just goes NFL linebacker on this dude. And really a nice form tackle. But he tackled him to the ground.
Yes.
Because he didn't know.
Form tackling,
He
trying to
didn't know.
protect.
He didn't know. He could say it could have been anybody, but I mean, he had a bottle of champagne there. I don't know what he was doing. He thought he was a
Some of
fan.
them people over there, some of those
Yeah, sure.
fans.
He probably thought he was a fan,
Yes.
and he didn't know.
Yeah.
So he's doing his job. Can't
Gotta
get mad at
take
security guard.
inventory on who are all the people around me.
Just he's doing his
You
job.
know what I'm saying?
man.
He was doing what he was supposed to do. Now, get that man a raise.
Get it?
Get that man a raise. He did his job. Didn't let the people get too close. He should have let them know who was with his entourage.
Yeah, he probably. I know they got. I love the slow motion video of it too.
Exactly.
Because Nick Taylor and his caddy is so offended when the guy gets tackled, but that dude's doing his job.
Yes.
Great job.
Yes.
So
I do
we're
love-
applauding the security guard.
Oh,
here.
I do love.
Security guard.
You know, there's another security guard who turned around and was like, "Hey, is that guy supposed to?" Oh my God, they just tackled him. Oh boy, am I supposed to be over there? What is happening?
Oh, I love. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure. I wonder. I hope he wasn't. You know. I hope they didn't go after this guy, the security guard, because he was overzealous in doing his job. He didn't hurt the guy.
The question is it their job to tackle them, or is it their job to alert authorities to tackle them?
Well, these days, I
You don't have time to alert.
I'm just saying, so
Yeah.
I know, like at clubs and stuff, there's stuff you're allowed to do and stuff you're very much not allowed to do because they'll sue the crap out of the club.
They will sue.
And so, like, there's stuff where like you're specifically told, do not do this to people because we cannot handle liability of you tackling an innocent person.
Those may be members of our actual club, and
Yes.
you're tackling them and stuff.
Yes,
Just 'cause
so
he's an idiot.
it'll be a
doesn't mean-
question of if that guy was told or if he was just somebody that has been waiting for this day for so long.
Jessica Hadwin, the wife of Adam Hadwin, the guy was tackled. She tweeted out, "Sorry to leave y'all hanging. Had to get the toddler ready for bed. I'm thrilled to report that Adam Hadwin is still among the land of the living and in true Canadian form. Apologize to the security guard for being tackled." Because I guess he figured I was wrong. I shouldn't have been out there, and so he apologized to the security
You
guard.
should be running out there. I'm a friend. I'm a friend.
That is great. All right, we got another author coming up. We'll get into some more hijinks from the sports world and other places. Before we come back, we'll dive back into the NBA Finals, gentlemen, previewing Game 5 of the NBA Finals. It may be a coronation for the new NBA champs. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about our friends over at Ironworkers Local 482. We know Austin is a beautiful city thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build it. They've been helping shape this city since 1935, and you see the labors of their love all over our magnificent city and exquisite landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so do our friends at Ironworkers Local 482. And right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people for a really big project right here in Central Texas, and you can become a valued member of Ironworkers Local Union 482 and accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. You can become a member right now, pretty easy. You can go to ironworkers482.org. Just go to ironworkers482.org, and you can take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of our great city. So maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. The video of the security guard tackling the Canadian golfer was Adam Hadwin. It gets funny and funnier every time you see it. And every angle adds a new little element of comedy to it.
You know what I just saw? The policeman standing a foot away from it, just watching it happen. Be like,
And
hey, what are y'all doing? I'm a officer of the law, not a security guard, and just gonna let that happen.
You're right. And you're right. There are like three or four other security guys are out there too, and they were not as overzealous. They were not as zealous as the security guard there. His name's gonna be out there soon. People are doing the research, but
His name's gonna be in there when the lawsuit comes out.
Yeah. Well, according to Jessica Hadwin, Adam Hadwin's wife, who Adam Hadwin is the golfer that was tackled, who was going to celebrate with Nick Taylor after winning the Canadian Open, first Canadian to do it since 1954. And then he came over with a bottle of champagne, and the security guard thought it was something a little bit more dramatic than that because he panicked. And then it was crazy, though, when he starts tackling him, he tackles him to the ground.
Yeah, full-on tackle.
Initially, he could just kind of, move him away or, just kind of.
He didn't know what he had. He didn't know what he had.
Yeah,
he had to go all the way down.
He wanted to go to the ground with him, and that's interesting to me, too, is that he wanted to take him to the ground, and that may add a little bit more credence to Patrick's theories that he was looking kind of for a reason. Because you could have just removed him, and then he would have been all right.
Yeah.
But he took him all the way down.
How many reasons do you have at a golf event, though?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel
so
like
that's why
there's
he
plenty
felt
to
nervous.
hit nice.
That is true. Good point.
Because there's normally not that many. Most of the people that are coming when you're watching somebody have that moment where they're walking up to the deal. They're not coming. I think that's the first time we've ever seen anybody come out there with champagne. I've never seen anybody come out there.
I got it.
That's right.
I do think all that. But that's why there's protocol. That's not spearing a guy into the ground like you're trying to protect the goal line in the championship game.
Hey,
First down.
I've been saying it ever since Liv has been compared to NWO. I want more of WWE in the PGA and in golf, and it seems like we are getting more of it since Liv came into the picture.
Yeah.
So because they're villains, I'm all about it. More of WWE. I want more of this. I want people trying to pop bottles of champagne when people win, and I want people getting tackled on the
are you
green.
gonna say? Were you
It's
saying
beautiful?
Was this guy gonna make a heel turn?
He might have been. He might have been.
That's what I'm saying. I would
They had
hard
the
for that.
stone come. Yeah, man. You got to be prepared, man.
I haven't seen this before, and you know what? I'm for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be talking about the Canadian Open. Otherwise, we don't even bring it up.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so there you go. But according to Hadwin's wife, she says, and maybe she's joking, she said he apologized to the security guard.
My bad, dog.
Yeah.
sorry.
Because he's Canadian.
Ooh, sorry, A.
He's Canadian. He ain't
I
wanna
got a little
offend
too
anybody.
excited.
Hey, your Canadian pressure's not that bad. I
That
like
was really good.
That was not bad. All right, let's get to some.
Y'all should hear my Australian. I'll give it to y'all at another time.
When is this going to be appropriate?
I'll make sure I got y'all my
Australian
Australian.
accent.
one.
Bring up Crocodile Dundee in about 8 minutes.
I'm like, when is it going to be appropriate?
Hang in there, guys. I'll get y'all ready.
I'm trying to think of what sports story is going to come out of Australia. So
Hey,
that
we
Hawks
are
can
going
do
to be
it.
talking rugby this week.
Okay. There we go.
There we go.
We might get it this week.
That's
then.
right.
All right, gentlemen, let's get back into the NBA Finals. It was another dominant win for Denver. Looks like you guys and both of you guys' gentlemen sweep prediction for this series might come to fruition tonight. What I thought was interesting about Game 4, guys, is that the Nuggets. How about this, guys? The Nuggets were a below 500 road team. I kept bringing that up earlier. And even in the start of the playoffs, they lost 3 of their first 4 road games in the playoffs. So they just became, I'm talking about in the last 2 weeks, they just became a really good road team. They won 5 straight road games for the first time all season with that road win in Game 4 versus the Miami Heat. That was 5 straight. They haven't won 5 straight road games all season long, and now they're doing it.
Yeah.
That was number one. That was amazing for me. And the second most amazing thing about Game 4, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray combined for a series-low 38 points. And if you're the Miami Heat, you got to be thinking, oh, man, if we can hold them to a combined, fewer than 40 points, hell, maybe probably thinking even fewer than 50 points combined, and they've been doing really well. You hold Nikola Jokic, best player on the planet, and Jamal Murray, who's playing like the second best player on the planet right now, to a combined 38 points, and you still lose 108-95 because Aaron Gordon gets 27, 76.
Yeah, that's what I'll say. And Michael Porter Jr. and KCP, who have been helping you out a lot, they're 18.
Yeah,
they combine for 18. So they don't even have a good game. They have bad games, respectively, offensively.
Yep.
And you still get one out.
And you still couldn't get closer. Bruce Brown had 21.
Yes.
This is a game that showed you, it ain't all about Jokic and Murray. Just in case you was like, man, it's a Jokic and Murray show. It's all about them. And if they don't play their best game, that's how you beat Denver. No.
Yeah.
They actually can afford to have those stars have a average to, for them actually below average game, and they still can end up beating you damn near by double digits. It's, or sorry, beating you by double digits. Sorry, 108-95. That's really impressive, and it shows me that the depth and overall talented depth of Miami is just starting to wear down. Of Denver is starting to wear down Miami at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see Miami even in. I know they're gonna put out a hell of an effort because they got a lot of heart and they play, with a ton of that dog in them. So they'll have a good fight. But I think Game 5 goes to the Denver Nuggets, and the truth is they may cover the number, and I think the number is 9.
It's 8.5. I just saw it on mine. It said 8.5.
I'd take them to cover the number.
And the other part of it too, we've been talking about the over/under. It's been under.
Yeah.
They've been both teams have not been going out there scoring at a high rate or a very high clip. I mean, but the biggest thing for me is the fact that the Miami Heat, who had to go through a play-in game, extended series, and continued. We said this the other day. They just don't look like they have the legs to finish the race. Mm-hmm. You can go out there and we could talk about the first half where they go out there and try to score and try to be in it, but they were down in the first half again at halftime. They tied the fourth quarter because that's where they normally make their run, and if you can stay with them in the fourth quarter with your lead, you're going to win the game. Because that's been the difference for them all year. You've been talking about how their numbers and what were they, plus 90 at one point in the fourth? And then plus 89.
After game 2, I believe that was the case.
Now you're sitting there and you're like, man, you can't let that team play with you in the fourth quarter because that has been the difference because Denver's coming out. They're leading going into the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And if they score even with you, like this game, they both scored 22 points in the fourth quarter, you're never going to close the gap. So you brought up the fact, too, that 10 points when Jokic went out with his foul trouble and a sprained ankle, comes back in, and all you get it down is to 9. Yeah. That was supposed to be your time to make your run. That's when you were supposed to be aggressive and getting into the paint and trying to get to the rim, but you're not even doing that.
No.
And I know we're talking about Miami does have good defense in this series. They've actually, and I know holding Denver to 108 and holding Denver under 110 in today's NBA is pretty good. Now, part of that is Miami is slowing the game down way too much. Like, it worked a little bit, but you have to try and speed the game up a little bit more if you're Miami because you just have to score more points. And I get it's going to hurt your defense, but you have to do it. Like, you have to find a way to change this up. I think the bigger question is, does Spoelstra make a change to his starting lineup when Strus and Gabe Vincent have basically become liabilities offensively?
Right.
And you have two guys that were playing really well for you, both now offensive liabilities, and you put in Lowry, who hasn't been great, but he's been playing the lion's shares in the minute anyway. And you basically put them on the bench and try and go, look, I get there's a 50-50 shot this backfires and they lose confidence and whatever else. But they suck now. So how much more can they suck if I put them on the bench? Like, maybe that inspires them to be like, oh, I got to prove him wrong. And they'll come off the bench, and they'll see it a little different. They'll be playing against different defenders, and they'll be playing different minutes of guys that now Jamal Murray's guarding you. He's more tired when he's guarding you because you're coming in 10 minutes into the game. There's other things where you may want to switch out and put a Lowry in. We know that Hero's suiting up and trying to play. I still don't put him in the starting lineup because defensively he is going to be gassed so fast.
Early, especially at that altitude.
At altitude, hasn't played all postseason. Oof. Basically, he gets hurt in that first postseason game. It's just a hard game to try and come back to and do anything. So I don't know if I put him in, but I maybe put Caleb Martin back in. He at least did okay in that last game and just go, let's go a little bit bigger. Let's try and create shot block and let's try and do whatever. But let's just try something other than going out with a whimper because we're just going to rely on Jimmy Butler to be the guy that he hasn't been in 8 straight games.
Yeah, that's the other troubling part for Miami is that their best player has not had that superhuman performance from playoff Jimmy Hemi, as we like to call him.
Hemi ain't been Hemi.
Not lately, and he's been trending the wrong way for Miami, and I think that's a big part of why we haven't seen them been able to steal enough of these games here in the finals. And tonight they'll be certainly trying to steal one. And one thing I want to bring up about the Denver Nuggets, and it's an interesting conversation because I think it actually is a microcosm of a conversation that we're having or will have about Nikola Jokic. The knock is that Denver's not a good defensive team. And obviously in the playoffs, they have changed their defensive strategy and really kind of changed their defensive character a little bit. I just talked about how regular season they were not a good road team, and yet they've won 5 straight road games for the first time all season. In the last 26 years, the only team to win a title who was ranked in the regular season outside the top 11 in defensive rating was the Lakers, 2000-2001.
Yep.
Nuggets are 15th. So the Nuggets actually have in this playoffs, especially deeper in the playoffs, their defense has really picked up tremendously.
Yep.
And that's something I think we don't talk enough about. In games 3 and 4 were just the second time all season that Denver held opponents to under 105 points per 100 possessions in 2 straight games.
Right.
And by the way, the other time was the first 2 home games of the season where they did that. So they're getting better defensively. Also, the second time this season that Denver held opponents to under 105 points per 100 possessions in 3 of the 4 games. And the other time that happened, it was a 4-game homestand. 2 of these games have been on the road for Denver. In game 2, Miami had their second most efficient offensive outing of the postseason or the play-in. So that's when Mike Malone really was upset after that. But didn't it 3 losses in the finals for the Miami Heat? They've had their least efficient offensive performance of the playoffs, period.
Yep.
If you go look at the 704, and Jokic doesn't get enough credit defensively. I'm not saying he's a defensive juggernaut at all. Not going there at all. But I do think his defense is underrated.
Man, what?
It is. We don't talk enough about it.
Yes.
747 minutes in the playoffs. Denver's defensive rating with Jokic on the court, guys, 111.8. That would be top 10 in the regular season. It'd be right outside the top 5. In round 2 versus the Suns, Denver allowed, with Jokic on the floor, 109.3 points per 100 possessions. So it's actually gotten even better. And you go look at it in Game 4, Jokic became the 5th player in finals history to finish with 3 blocks and 3 steals and 10 defensive rebounds. So I'm just throwing it out there that he's a little underrated when it comes to defense. I know he's an offensive supercomputer and probably unprecedented versatility keeps us all, riveted. And really that's what most of the conversation is about. But he's not a liability defensively.
No, I don't think so at all either.
Well, no, and especially not in a team that wants to play in the half court. If you want to get out and run the ball and you want to try and beat his athleticism, then you're going to get some more points on him, and that's where you're going to get him in more trouble when you're driving the paint on him and he has to guard a guy who's going to have him out on the perimeter more, and he's having to move laterally and he's having to jump at guys. That's going to cause him more problems. But if you're playing Bam Adebayo 10 feet from the basket and you're setting up like that, he can play defense like that just fine because you're going into what some of his strengths are, which is footwork, which is where he can, it's ball control or body control.
He's a basketball mind. He's a basketball mind. He understands the game.
So when you just go, let's attack this guy's just straight athleticism, which is trying to jump higher than him, try and run faster than him, those types of things, then you can get him in a little bit more foul trouble. And they got him into foul trouble on those types of plays. But they're just not getting him into that much trouble right now because they want to slow the game down so much that every time they set up and slowly set up a defense, he gets to go find Bam, and he sits under the basket with Bam. And you're like, you're going to let him be a lot better if you're not trying to switch him off and get a mismatch on him and put him out on perimeter on a guard and let the guard blow past him, and now he's out of the play.
Well, here's the other part of it, too. They don't have those type of players. So the matchup is always going to be that, and there's not very many NBA teams that can run the floor like that. We'll see as the league goes on and how they end up adjusting the Joker.
Yeah, will.
But there's not a lot of guys that fit that mold where it could be that consistent of a time where you're sitting there and saying, well, he's a liability, or we can make him weak in this area. Yes, every player has those weaknesses, but for Joker and what he's able to do, hell, he starts the break. He gets on the break.
Yeah.
He runs down the floor faster than some of these guys.
Well,
and that's the part that has been very entertaining for me.
Well, the best part with him offensively is that he plays the point. So he doesn't have to be so when you're a center, normally you have to be the first guy.
Get down there.
Because you're supposed to be in the line and you're supposed to be the one, or you're cleaning up a dunk.
Yeah.
But he's a point guard, so he can basically get down and make a quick pass, and everything's rolling. Defensively, you want to be able to get Bam down that court way faster, get him hard, like good position, and make Aaron Gordon or make somebody else come and back up to him, make Jokic have to go out and guard someone else on the perimeter like a Kevin Love, and then you can try and move the ball around a little bit more because you've pulled him out.
Create some space.
And you create a little bit more space.
Yeah.
That's more what you want to try and do. It's not so much that you have to go super fast once you get down there, but you have to try and get him to where he's at the half court when Bam Adebayo's already got position under the basket and somebody has to fix it. And that's where you get and a little bit more mismatches. They just haven't really been able to do that, but partly because their offense isn't hitting shots. You have to hit shots to be able to do that. You have to be able to get rebounds to be able to do that on the defensive side. So you're not getting them reset. They're not stopping them enough. And then on offense, basically both sides of the ball, they're not getting into it enough where they can get back down and keep running the court.
Yeah, it does seem like a Herculean task ahead of Miami just to try to steal a game, and it feels like stealing a game.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be.
It feels like every time they win one, they got to steal it, and they did. They stole one. They stole game
But
two.
the problem is you get caught on film. They got you caught on tape. You stole it, but we caught you on tape.
Got caught
So
red-handed.
you got caught red-handed because that means I'm going to get it back. And I want to give a shout-out. I want to make sure that we give Michael Malone his flowers as well. We were talking a lot about what Spoelstra has been able to do throughout these playoffs. He's been the one that's normally the sharpest one that's out there. We're talking about, he's outcoached that guy and outcoached this guy. But I think Michael Malone has done an unbelievable job of mixing and matching his guys and knowing the first game that they lost, he didn't play the right guys. When they lost that game 2, it was because he fell in love with what he had and didn't look at those other guys that were ready to play. Game 3, Christian Brown went in there. He played out of his mind. You saw Brown, the other one that's spelled traditionally Brown. Bryce Brown. Yeah. He went out there and he played good basketball just like he did the other night. So it's all about those keys of trying to figure out, yes, they're the number 1 seed and they're that team that everybody was looking at. But we've been giving Spoelstra so much respect, which rightfully so, but across from him is a coach that has pushed the right buttons. Because remember, every conversation leads off with that fourth quarter every single time. He knows that's when his team gets lazy because they get that lead. They get the lead. They're looking at it, and they're already trying to figure out where the party's at instead of let's finish this thing, stay focused. You haven't done anything yet. And lock in, and that's what they've been able to do.
Yeah,
so shout out to him.
I believe these are the second and fourth most tenured coaches in the NBA right now.
That makes sense
because
with Spoelstra.
Pop is 1, Spoelstra is 2, Steve Kerr is 3, I think Michael Malone is 4. I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
You honestly, with the way things went down this offseason, I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
You got so many coaches who are
so you
veterans.
say these are tenured coaches that they built a culture, they built it, and they've been building it for years. Both these teams have. But Denver, I think Spoelstra gets more credit because there is more undrafted and because you have just better – like the storylines seem better. Like there's not as many fun guys. Like Aaron Gordon, people basically gave up on him 2 years ago.
Yep.
They felt he was a slam dunk guy, but never going to be a player on that level. And he had his coming out party in Game 4 where, I mean, being the leading scorer in an NBA Finals game is rare company. And especially when you are not expected to be that guy.
Not that guy, yeah.
But, those storylines I think people just leave off because it's Denver. And Jokic, the story is so great that you just go, oh, it's all Jokic. There's a lot that went into building this team, and Michael Malone does deserve a lot of credit for being able to go. And Denver's ownership and management deserves credit for sticking with it when they, in 2020, they are playing the Lakers in the bubble with this similar team. and they fall short. And instead of breaking it all up, then not believing that Jamal Murray is going to come back healthy in 2021, to have all that to now be in 2023 and a game away, that takes a lot of credit to not blow it all up, because we've seen so many of these teams blow it all up.
And they have Jokic, Murray, Michael Porter Jr., KCP, and Brown all under contract.
Yep.
So they got a lot of the
It
core. The
ain't
core.
over.
Yeah, the core is young, and the core is signed for the foreseeable future. It's a dangerous combination for the rest of the NBA.
What did Marcus Peters say in one of his interviews? We ain't done yet.
No.
That's how they feel.
They ain't. No, I don't believe it either, because it's going to take the rest of the NBA a little while to kind of catch up to this model and what they're doing. They'll catch up, but it may take them a little while. Jokic now in the playoffs, averaging 30 points per game in these playoffs, 30 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 9.8 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's about to average a triple-double in the playoffs.
Love it.
A 30-point triple-double in the playoffs.
30 burger. Love it.
Then you say, I don't care. Just give me the title.
You know, he's right, because we won't give a damn about any of these stats if he doesn't have the title. And as soon as he gets the title, the narrative shifts as to, all right, where is
Now
Jokic
what?
among all the greatest big men in NBA history?
I know, this feels bad, but I got to tell Jimmy Butler, like, dude, you can't have the same conversations Jokic can. Because Jokic is the best player in the NBA. So when he says, I don't care, it's because he's putting up 30, 20, 10s.
Yeah.
When you're like, if I can make it the NBA Hall of Fame, I won't
saw
go.
that.
I don't care. You're like, you should. You should care. Because you're a borderline Hall of Famer, and you are a Hall of Famer in the NBA, but not in any other sport.
He'll make it
like,
as a
you have to
basketball
understand,
Hall
like,
of Famer.
I get it, man, but you need to change your outlook, because you got other kids on these teams looking up to you, and when you act nonchalant about this stuff, it makes them not care, and then you just don't – it messes up the culture of the team when you try and be holier than thou, and it comes off tone deaf.
Yeah, I know he's just trying to say all he cares about is titles, but yeah, I'm with you. It
But
didn't
you're
come
not going
off
to win
great.
none.
Not right now. Not against this team. Not right now. All right, we come back. We'll get into Rod's rant of the day. I want to get back to the Cowboys' Texas Coast offense.
Come on, man.
I've been trying to tell you guys exactly what you're going to see. About 30% of the offense is going to be different. We'll talk about what those differences are going to be right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about Dr. Greg Eckert and his all-star team, because if you have any concerns about your dental health or dental hygiene, you need to reach out to Dr. Greg Eckert, and they will do you right. I guarantee you. They'll hook you up, because whether it's general dentistry or whether it's teeth whitening or it's dentures or porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy, whatever it takes to make sure you're getting the best quality dental care available, that's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his all-star team are all about. As a matter of fact, even if you have dental anxiety, which a lot of us do, and you're a little anxious, you're freaking out about going to the dentist's office, don't, because Dr. Greg Eckert and his fantastic team specialize in easing your dental anxiety. And as a matter of fact, first time I went to the Dr. Eckert's office, I thought to myself I was having a little dental anxiety, and I saw a woman there who was actually crying. I thought to myself, see, she's got the same dental anxiety that I do. Turns out I was wrong. She actually was crying tears of joy because Dr. Greg Eckert had given her the smile she had always wanted. She looked in the mirror and was brought to tears, overjoyed by what she saw. And Dr. Greg Eckert can do the same for you and give you a brand new smile in just one day, permanently secured to your dental implants. No time spent without teeth. You'll get temporary fixtures and complete your permanent smile, and you'll smile again with confidence. Eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Greg Eckert today to learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures. It's a brand new smile in just one day. It sounds too good to be true. It's not. It's just Dr. You. Give them a call, 512-345-3166. That's 512-345-3166. Or visit dreckert.com. That's DRUECKERT.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to get back to the Texas Coast offense for the Dallas Cowboys because I'm very intrigued. We've been going through all the different quotes from Mike McCarthy and Stephen Jones and Dak Prescott and even Jerry Jones describing what the new offense is going to look like. And basically, we know about 30% of the offense based on what Mike McCarthy said, Dak has said, and what Stephen Jones has told all of us. About 30% of the offense is going to change. They don't want to change too much because, well, the offense was pretty damn good. Actually, the Cowboys, if you take away non-offensive touchdowns in 2022, they were third behind Philadelphia and Kansas City in scoring. And in the last 2 years, the Cowboys have actually been the highest scoring team in the NFL, ahead of Kansas City and Philadelphia in the last 2 years. So they've been scoring a lot of points. Top team in scoring the last 2 years. So they want to change a ton. They just wanted to make the offense more effective at achieving a specific goal. And the goal apparently was not always scoring points, as Mike McCarthy told you. He was like, no, Kellen Moore was all about scoring points. He's about winning games. I know you'll say, well, you got to score a lot of points to win games. Well, you got to control the game more so than to just score points to win the game. And I think Mike McCarthy wants to control the game, therefore featuring the defense more and trying to basically piecemeal and construct the identity of the Cowboys as a team more around the defense and giving them advantageous situations more so than always doing everything to give the advantage to the offense, sacrificing everything to make sure the offense is okay. So I think, and by the way, that goes with the roster construction too. Now with Dan Quinn's there, they're spending more money on defense than they have in the past. Usually the Cowboys don't spend a lot of money on defense either. That's a new thing. So the new offense, based on what I've seen, you're going to see an increase in RPO usage and an increase in play-action pass usage just because Dak so much more effective in play-action pass than without. Right? We're talking about last season, 102 passer rating with play-action pass, 87 passer rating without play-action pass. He had 14 interceptions without play-action pass, 1 interception with play-action pass. And both of his interceptions in the playoffs were without play-action pass. Pretty simple. The dude needs to be using play-action pass a whole lot more. All right? That's just pretty simple. That's just cut and dry. I think the Cowboys will do that. By the way, they were 9th last year, so they weren't terrible in play-action pass rate. They should be top 5, though, considering the disparity, the difference in Dak with the play-action pass and Dak without it. All right? You want to see more big Dak energy? More play-action pass. And more RPOs, too. I think he's really good in RPOs. They don't use enough of that. Sometimes they don't differentiate the difference between an RPO and a play-action pass, but I digress. Also, you're going to see more of the deep ball. Something the Cowboys have been talking a lot about in the offseason has been speed. Now, this has been with the addition of Brandon Cooks. They've been talking about the speed on the outside. And I think one of the things that's going to help this Texas Coast offense is their ability to threaten opposing teams with speed. When Dak was asked about Brandon Cooks' speed, he said, basically, it's beautiful. Yeah, real speed. Runs the same way every time. He makes it all look the same. I'm thankful he's here. And when the Cowboys obviously just had their mini camp they just had, the OTAs, several reports of deep touchdowns by Brandon Cooks. One from Patrick Walker in team drills. Cowboys wide receiver Brandon Cooks scorched, in all caps, double coverage on a go route that saw Prescott drop in a dime to hit him in stride for a 60-yard touchdown. Trust me when I tell you, his speed is even better than advertised. John Machota set the play of the day during Cowboys minicamp. The deep ball touchdown from Dak Prescott to Brandon Cooks. So we've been seeing more of that. And last year, the Cowboys, in terms of throwing the deep ball, they only attempted a deep pass, 20 yards or more down the field, air yards, 10.8% of the time. Just to give you some context and perspective on that number, Kenny Pickett and Brock Purdy had higher deep ball percentage rates.
Now, let me ask this question. Was that because of the play call before you weren't letting the play develop? Was he under duress?
It could be a little
more,
bit of both.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
it's really hard unless you're breaking down the film to find exactly what it is. The Cowboys did throw a lot of hitch routes. I mean, they were 4th highest hitch route rate in all the NFL. So maybe too many hitch routes and maybe not enough deep routes down the field. The crazy thing about it is, though, Dak is actually a really skilled deep ball passer.
Yes,
He's
he
been
is.
top 5 in QB passer rating. If you look at just deep ball, he's been top 10, I should say, top 10 on deep ball passer rating every year of his career except for one. So he's really good. And by the way, there should be a combination. Really good at play action pass, really good at deep ball. You should just throw it deep more. And now they got an actual threat, a deep threat in Brandon Cooks. The beauty of Brandon Cooks is people believe he still kept his speed. He was a 4.3 guy coming out, and there's belief that he still kept his speed. And you guys know how I feel. I don't covet speed at wide receiver because most of the great wide receivers out there, they're not exceptionally fast. All right. They have enough speed to create separation. And, I always say that, if you go look at the stats, it's about the fastest combine times for receivers coming out. If you go look at the 25 fastest wide receivers in combine history, I believe you only got basically one, if you go look at it, 1,000-yard receiver out of that whole group, top 25. And it was Santana Moss. So it's just being.
It's not as necessary.
Yeah, being fast is like kind of like being well endowed. It's good. It may help you, all right, but it's not a necessity. Being well endowed alone doesn't make you a great lover. All right, there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that contribute to you being a great lover, and being fast doesn't necessarily just make you automatically a great wide receiver. There are a lot of things that contribute to that overall formula of you creating separation from a defensive back. But the Cowboys do have that right now. They got Brandon Cooks, so they got some speed. And
stretch the field.
Yeah,
they have a great relationship.
And CeeDee Lamb's not slow, but he's a 4.5 guy. And people still say Brandon Cooks can still run a 4.3. And the beauty of Brandon Cooks is he does have the speed, but he also can run routes. All right. And basically the art of route running is the ability to create separation, but he can run really precise routes. And I think Dak's going to like, that's why Dak really likes him too. Also,
we heard in that quote where he says it's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
He mentions in the quote,
Yep.
No, it's not just that he's fast. It's that every time I throw the ball, I just have to hit a spot, and I know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
I know exactly where he's going to be. Yeah,
That's the beautiful thing about it.
That's that veteran wide receiver, man. That's something he had with Amari Cooper, who had become a veteran. I'm going to say he didn't have it with CD, but CD is still not as savvy yet because he just got there.
If Brandon Cooks can stay healthy is the biggest question.
That is a big question.
Yep.
Something else you're going to end up seeing a lot of with the Texas Coast offense. Hopefully you're seeing less of this because I found this stat and it was a little troubling. If you go look at the percent of series of downs that went run, pass for the Cowboys. All right, so we're talking about a series of downs that went run, pass in that order. Cowboys at the third highest percentage in the NFL of run, pass series downs, which is crazy. They're at 28%. Just to give you a little perspective on it, Kansas City's at 16%. That's the lowest in the NFL, by the way. If you go look at it, Cincinnati's at 17%. Buffalo at 18%. That's third lowest. Those are your lowest three in that particular category. And I think for the Cowboys, that's kind of showed that they were a little conservative early on. Maybe they should, and I think you will see them increase their early down pass rate. Because of their conservative nature, run, pass, made them really predictable. The Cowboys' 3-and-out percentage, 10th. Cowboys were top 10 in 3-and-out percentage in the NFL. They were at 34%, so they're in the same category with Denver. Denver's at 36%. Chicago was at 36%. Hell, the Rams were bad last year. They were at 39%. New England was bad. They were at 37%. The Cowboys' offense is way too good to be in the same neighborhood with those offenses from last year. So and you go look at 3-and-out percentage, the Lions were the fewest at 25%. The Lions' offense was the top 5 offense last year. Kansas City, second fewest at 25%. San Francisco, third fewest, 26%. Along with, Atlanta, shout out to Bijan. They're at 26%, so fourth fewest. And the Miami Dolphins were the fifth fewest 3-and-outs. Philly was seventh, right behind the Giants. So that's the neighborhood the Cowboys should be in. They should not be in the neighborhood of top 10 highest 3-and-out percentage. And I think it's because they were way too conservative early on in their downs. Instead of run, pass, they need to mix it up and have some early down pass rates. By the way, Dak, lethal passing the ball on early downs. That's first and second down. He is third in success rate and fifth in expected points added (EPA) per play on early down passing. But in 2021, the Cowboys were 8th in early down pass rate. In 2022, 26th. 26th in early down pass rate, throwing the ball on first and second down, which is why 43.7% of Cowboys' third downs were third and long.
Yeah.
Third and 7. Damn near 44% of all Cowboys' third downs were third and 7 or more to go. These are the little things that frustrated Mike McCarthy. Now, you would ask, why the hell does he need to wait till the offseason to fix it? Why can't you go there and go yell at your offensive coordinator right there, the play caller, and fix it during the season? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm serious. I don't know. Maybe he was telling Kellen Moore that, and this was the thing they couldn't agree on. Maybe this was the mutual disagreement between the two. It's like,
Exactly.
I got a way I'm doing it, and if you want to do it, then do it. But you want to take the play calling sheet out of my hand.
Do it somewhere else then. Go to San Diego. Go to L.A.
Exactly.
Now you out of there.
So
We're
I
going to
think-
do it differently.
Yeah, so these are this, like I said, 30% of the offense is going to change. I think you'll get higher play action pass rate, higher RPO rates, more deep ball, and higher rates of early down pass rate, per early down passing, I should say. That's what I think your 30% change on the Texas Coast offense is going to look like.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right.
Texas Coast, baby.
Texas
we gotta get
Coast.
We gotta get some beats to it too.
Some Texas Coast?
Yeah, some South Dallas, some what is Yellow Beezy to the beat for the Texas Coast.
Like that.
I like it.
Texas, I love how Rock can throw in a sexual innuendo as an analogy under any circumstance. This is true.
There it
This
is.
is how my mind works.
Boom. Gotta love it, baby.
All right, we'll come right back. Get to Off the Record on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Hey, and I got to tell you about my favorite tequila, my go-to tequila. It's Hot Cat Tequila. By now, you understand that the cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila. And the recipe, just as simple, just as delicious, just as brilliant. Just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. Hot Cat Tequila is every tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, well, Hot Cat Tequila will turn you into a fan of tequila. As a matter of fact, I had some neighbors of mine come over and taste a little Hot Cat Tequila. Turns out they loved it. And they don't even like tequila. Turns out they love Hot Cat Tequila because it'll turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. And once you try Hot Cat, you'll never go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you were ordering rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. So turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or any night on the town with family and friends. Best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit Cat Tequila. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves up Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when my man Patrick, the Idealionaire, he plays jams that are intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who might have had a tough weekend. And John Sterling, radio voice of the New York Yankees, almost had a tough weekend, but honestly ended up being a very lucky weekend for him because he took a foul ball right off the dome. And it didn't hit him cleanly. It grazed him, so he was okay, but he's 84.
80.
He's 84.
Years old.
When you're 84, anything could take you out. Like anything. It could be just fall the wrong way, catch a pneumonia, something, anything. It's just, God, we're praying for everybody who's old like that because, man, anything could happen.
Nope.
All right? But here's this is how you know the guy's a professional. I mean, consummate professional. Because he gets grazed in the head with a foul ball and kept doing the play-by-play. Here it is.
And now the 3-2 swung on a pop foul back here. Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far. So once again, it'll be a 3-2. And Holmes ready to deal. A ground ball to third. Donaldson squares, throws to first in time. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. You know, that foul ball actually hit me. It kind of glanced off my forehead. So I took one for the team.
Okay, John. My star of the game is Kyle Higashioka, who wants to know if you're all right. Are you okay, John?
Yes,
Okay, yes.
I am okay. Just a glancing blow.
Just a glancing blow.
Wow. I mean, 84, and with that kind of clarity, that's amazing. Get hit in the head. That's one of my fears, by the way, of going to a baseball game. And it's happened, close to happening to me several times.
Oh, my goodness.
Just catching a stray foul ball.
Well, here's the deal.
Uh-oh.
Okay? First off, you are looking at it. If you watch the video, he's watching the ball come towards him.
He's 84.
I understand that, but you have been in that booth for a while. I've been at the Dale Diamond Round Rock Express calling the games with Mike Capps, and a ball has come in there.
Ooh.
Smoked the back wall. So you need to be aware of that. And the fact that you are 84, I know they want to be part of the elements. They want to hear it. Get a crowd mic. Get something like that, man. You need somebody up there protecting you. You need that security guard that tackled them people celebrating on the green.
Man.
He would have jumped in front of that for you.
That's one of my fears, though, the stray foul ball.
You got to keep your head on the swivel,
do.
bro.
Yeah, I think it's much worse if you don't. Like, if once I'm 84, I'm not making it to 84, but if I did, then I'd be like, hey, just let's get tickets far enough away. I don't want them to hit anywhere near me, but at 39, I still feel like I could catch it. Now, the problem would be, I feel like I'd break my hand doing it. Like, it'd be one of those things you're like, let me just grab that, and you'd be like, whoo.
I don't trust myself. Listen, Robbie ain't known for his hands around here. Right? Everybody know that hand-eye coordination
But
ain't
you
great.
will deflect it.
I would yes.
You would deflect it.
I'd bat that pass away. Yes.
Yeah.
So from a lady next to me or a kid next to me, I'll probably try to knock it away, but I wouldn't try to catch it. Harge, you actually.
Hey, man, why are you bringing that up?
Okay, just saying. You tried to barehand one.
I did.
Tried to barehand
I
the
literally
foul ball.
had just walked into the stadium, walked up into my seat section, and as I was getting ready to go, here comes the foul ball. I was talking to somebody.
And everybody
Imagine
seemed
that.
to be watching you, apparently.
Because they were watching the foul ball.
Oh, that's
And it happened to be in my area, and you would have thought I was Rod B. The way I deflected that ball away from me.
Yeah,
but
but that was because you were trying to be cool and
He
not
was.
break conversation.
And
you
he
were
was.
gonna be like, you were gonna in mid conversation catch a ball and then hand it to the person you were having the conversation.
One-handed style, too. He didn't
Yeah.
even pull the other hand up. You tried to be too cool for school.
But the problem is everybody saw it.
And the problem is also everybody knows hard. This is when
Yeah.
no one every damn body comes back to hunt you. Everybody's like, that's hard.
That's because he was
Harge
talking to
Harge.
me.
That's Mike Hard.
They were calling me Hard Hands Hards
right.
right there. They weren't calling me Hardball.
They were like, he played pro ball.
They were calling me Skillet that day.
It was like,
'cause
he
your boy was
played pro
not
ball. Like,
there.
he played pro ball. He was drafted in the second round. That guy
No.
who just dropped that foul ball?
Yeah, that's why I'm doing radio with my man Rob B. Your boy's not fielding properly.
Oh, man. Nah.
Yeah.
That one caught you by surprise, though.
Straight off balance.
That one got you. Wasn't there video of
and
that thing, too?
And I wasn't 84, so there you go.
Did there video? Somebody got video of you doing it, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I thought it was a video of you trying to catch
there
it.
is video out there.
All right, we got to
told him
find
to
it.
delete it.
There is also the great time of this year when Craig Way fell over backwards calling a basketball game and continued to call the game.
That's right.
As he was on his back.
When
This was
this?
during the tournament, I think.
Oh, yes. I think we did play this audio.
That's right.
Yeah, where he fell, and you cannot really
You cannot tell the difference.
You can't tell.
Nope.
But it's like
Just
you know
like
if you're
John
saying-
Sterling, except for ball hit my face.
Yeah, no, you're right. You could
falls
not tell the
backwards.
difference. I remember
It's
that.
professionalism at another level right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of those guys are the best.
You're right. That is true. That's GOAT stuff right there,
Yep.
man. All right, there you go. So shout out to John Sterling, man. That's impressive. All right, we come back. We will get into NFL talk. We'll go into some Cowboys discussion, NFL news, notes, and nuggets. We'll talk about Saquon Barkley. Reportedly, he may be holding out. That's good news for Cowboys fans. And can Dak Prescott bounce back this season? One of the NFL analysts and columnists certainly thinks so. We'll discuss that on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about one of my favorite cities. It's Austin, Texas. I love Austin. What's not to love? And part of the reason we all love Austin is because of the authentic aesthetic appeal of Austin, thanks in no small part to the skilled craftsmanship of Ironworkers Local Union 482. They've been helping shape this city since 1935. That's a really long time. And you see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DKR Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as our city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. They don't go to the office, they build the office. So if you're looking for an exciting new career, maybe you want a career change, maybe you want something new, something fresh, something that will challenge you, something that will provide you with a rewarding experience, how about becoming a valued member of Ironworkers Local 482? You can accept the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself while helping shape Austin's economic development. And right now, they're hiring over 3,000 people. That's right, over 3,000 people. I had a neighbor of mine ask me if you know of anybody who's hiring. I said, actually, my good friends over at Ironworkers Local Union 482 are hiring over 3,000 people for a huge project right here in Central Texas. And you can become a member of Ironworkers Local 482 and take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. Maximize your potential and be your best self today. Simply apply at ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when Patrick the Idealionaire plays jams intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who may have had a tough weekend. He's doing it with a little Al Green this time. Good stuff. Well done.
Well, I thought it was Tuesday, so this is cool.
This probably would have fit.
It would.
Time to chop
Top of the
Tuesday.
chop,
It
for sure.
probably would have fit. Al Green. Is this prior to the Reverend Al Green?
Yes, this is prior
To
to the Rev.
he found the Lord after the incident with the grits, right?
Oh, because, boy, you don't ever want to get hot grits on you.
Yeah, and that was a lady friend, right? A lady in his life that
He been in them streets.
he had
He's
been
had a
out there
couple of ladies
wilding.
in his
And
life.
then,
He ain't like Bobby Womack, but he out there.
he was had hot grits thrown on him.
Yeah, man.
Ooh.
I don't even
You'll
want to
find
think about that.
That's a way to find God.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Yeah.
Hallelujah. There you go. A little Al Green for you on a Smooth Soul Monday. All right, we got some Cowboys discussion we'll get to. I also want to talk about this Saquon Barkley holdout, man. That's going to potentially be an ugly situation for the Giants and actually good for the Cowboys if indeed Saquon Barkley is going to hold out. So we'll get to that coming up. Real quick, we didn't get to this in Off the Record in the previous segment, but I did read that the XFL is expected to lose $60 million, or at least report $60 million in losses after year one. But they do have funding. They do have funding in place for multiple more seasons. So even though they took the tremendous loss,
They have some reserves set up for this one.
they're ready for this.
Yeah.
And you know what? At least they made it through the season, paying all their players, paying all their coaches. Hell, some of these leagues folded up before they could even, pay players for the pay through the contract.
Yeah.
So at least the league made it through a season. But that's always been
Thank goodness.
a Sisyphean battle to try to start up a league that not competes with the NFL, but any other type of secondary pro football league in America. Always been tough. All right, let's get to the NFL. All right, the top pro football league in America, also America's number one TV show, and the number one TV star on America's number one TV show, the Dallas Cowboys.
Hello.
That's the truth.
Y'all
Whether
not
you like
surprised
it or
by
not.
that? Y'all surprised by
A lot
that?
of Cowboys fans don't like that, actually. They don't like that.
Well, that's why Dak gets so much grief for the star on the helmet. If he was playing for somebody else, nobody would be talking about Dak like this.
If Dak was playing for somebody else, he might be on the cover of Madden.
That's a good point.
He
Hey,
won't-
good looking out, man.
Unless if you're the Cowboys quarterback, how often has the Cowboys quarterback been on the cover of Madden?
I don't think I've
You gotta
ever
be,
known
you
that.
gotta be you gotta be winning because the Cowboys. It's too,
Okay,
No,
Rob,
Emmett-
why you
Emmett-
go
No,
there?
I'm just saying it's too easy. No, I'm saying it's too
Oh,
easy
got you.
because the Cowboys already
Got
they
you.
already get headlines. They're the number one TV star on America's top TV show.
Got you.
When they put on the Madden cover, they're trying to create some type of a discourse, conversation, debate. You put a Cowboys quarterback on them. I mean, we talk Cowboys all the
That
time.
would be all debate.
It's all
Because they're like,
Cowboys.
well, oh my goodness, why they put a cowboy
And
on there?
yeah.
What Jerry
But
do?
the Cowboys are universally hated
Yeah.
and universally loved at the same time.
And you also remember they didn't start putting players on the cover till 2001. So the Emmitt Smith,
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
like Troy Aikman days were
Yeah.
before they started doing
Yeah.
it.
So it's like, what Cowboy you gonna put on? You could put Dak on there, but like, is Dak a top 5 player? They look for top 5 players at their position most of the time, right?
You could have had the running back.
Micah can go on
DeMarco
there.
Murray. DeMarco Murray could have been on there
How?
when he led the league in rushing.
Micah would be the one that I would say
No.
right
he
now.
could have.
could
He
have,
could
but he
have.
led the league
But
in
that's not
rushing.
sexy enough, right?
No, but he
It's not
could. But that
sexy.
was the guy.
Yeah, but Micah. How often
Micah would be the
How
guy.
often do defensive players make it? That's the question.
Troy Polamalu was on
It's
one.
very rare, though, right? It's like the Heisman. Defensive players never make it. So Micah could do it, though.
Yeah.
Micah's probably my best guess. If a Cowboy is going to make it on there, it would be him. And he's got a chance this year because he'll probably be in the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year.
I do like that.
So this may be the year Jerry's like, I want him on there. Put him on there.
Richard Sherman also did
Mm-hmm.
it.
There you go. But he was top corner
Yeah.
at his position at the time. Considered
Yeah.
top DB. He had tough for defensive players to do it, but Micah could do it. I could see Micah on there. Anyway, I don't know how we got deep into the Madden discussion. I have because we were talking about
Cowboy,
Dak.
that's right.
And Josh Allen's on there, and
Yeah.
the Josh Allen Dak conversation is just so interesting. But people criticize Dak all the time for being careless with the football, being irresponsible with the football,
Talk
just
to
for
him.
this past season. And it's like, well, Josh Allen's been like that since his entire career.
Come on, man.
I do think it's because Josh Allen has always been considered high risk, high reward, and Dak never had that stigma or reputation. Dak was a low risk, high reward quarterback, except for last season.
And he is a 4th-round pick, while some of these guys are 1st-round picks.
Amen to that,
and
too.
they need to be held to a higher standard over what y'all do with Dak. But I digress. Go ahead, my brother.
I love this texter said maybe The Rock needs to call Liv. No, the PIF.
Yep.
What is it called? There's something in
The fund. I know it's the
I
fund.
forgot what the I stands for. So that's the People's something fund, or whatever it is. Yeah, you're right. That fund has I want to say that fund has some crazy number that's been thrown out there. Nobody knows exactly how much money's in the fund.
Yeah.
But there are some people saying there's like hundreds of billions of dollars in this
It is
fund.
just the public investment fund.
Oh, public investment fund. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, right. Pretty generic public investment
Well,
fund.
they're trying to make you forget everything else. That is kind of the key.
We're just a public investment
Yeah,
fund.
where the hotels are really nice here. Fun.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they decide to buy the. That'd be crazy if they bought the league. That not the NFL, of course. Some of the XFL.
XFL. And what's
afford-
the other one? USFL too?
Yeah,
What if he did
coming
both?
out.
What if he did both of those?
What if they bought both of them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Vince would have been a lot better guy to sell it to the Saudis than The Rock.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think Vince would have Vince in a heartbeat.
Vince would have already done it. Give me
That's
my
crazy.
money.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Texas, 600 millions in the fund is what I heard. Yeah, I heard of some ungodly amount of money, close to probably $1 billion, some dollars, or maybe billions in there. Okay, anyway, getting back to it, gentlemen, let's get to this Pro Football Focus ranking that I saw, and I wanted to get to this last week because it actually came out last week, but we didn't have time to get to it. So the Pro Football Focus ranked the top safeties in the NFL. They went through all the safeties in the league and ranked all of them. And the reason this is a Cowboys-related topic is the Cowboys play more safeties than any other team in the league, actually. They play 3 safeties around 40% of the time. They call it their big dime package. They also call it their big nickel package. That means they're playing 3 safeties. So the Cowboys, with their 3 safeties on this list, turns out, Hards, the Cowboys are the only team on this list of highest ranked safeties in the NFL that has all 3 of their safeties ranked in the top 32. They do 32, so all 32 teams. So they're the only team with all 3 of their safeties ranked in the top 32. No other team has more than 2. But that to me is really impressive. Now, they're not ranked especially high. I think for the Cowboys to rank, Jaron Kearse is at 19.
Yep.
Donovan Wilson's at 26. Malik Hooker's at 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're still ranked relatively high, but other teams that have multiple safeties on this list, the Buffalo Bills with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, they are ranked 5 and 8, so 2 top 10 safeties, probably the best safety duo in the NFL. Baltimore after that with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams, they're 13 and 24 on this list. And then you throw into
Jamal
Chicago.
Adams and Quandre Diggs, they're both on this list.
They
too.
are, but they're ranked 22 and 16.
Yeah.
So, it depends on what. So I think, the Cowboys safety group, depending on where you want to rank them, they may not be the top group, but I would say they're probably somewhere hovering around the top 5 best safety core in the NFL, but they're definitely the deepest safety core in the NFL because they got 3 guys on this list.
Well, when you were talking, Jaron Kearse is one of your guys that you were very high on. Donovan Wilson catapulted to the top for me because of the way he was coming downhill a bunch of times last year, the way he was playing in that slot position, making tackles at the line of scrimmage. I thought he was one of those guys that had a breakout performance, and I was more excited when they said that he was coming back because he had the opportunity to leave. So I was really excited to see that. And then, of course, Malik Hooker finally was healthy and got a chance to be out there the entire time. So, yes, I'm with you. The way that the scheme has been written up and the way Dan Quinn calls up and dials up his plays, I think these guys are probably top 32 is cool, but they are a group of guys that, as a bunch, are some of the best that are in the NFL. Really impressed with the way that they play football.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think for Dan Quinn, it's strange to think about that the Cowboys, they're one of the teams. I would say there are probably 8 teams in the NFL like this, maybe a quarter of them. They don't like to spend high draft capital on the safety position, and they don't like to spend basically high salary cap dollars, highest salary cap figures, I should say, on the safety position. The Cowboys have always believed that's a position where they can get a discount. They can get a bargain. They can get pretty much a good value at safety, so they won't overspend at that position. And maybe you could say they don't prioritize it, but you can't really say that anymore since Dan Quinn's came to the picture, because he does prioritize safety. He plays more safeties than anybody else, and he utilizes those guys a ton with different pre-snap disguises and with a lot of his shell disguises, and he moves those guys around the chessboard. So they are prioritizing safety, but since Dan Quinn's coming to the picture, this is the first time they've been able to maximize the talent at safety. So because of Dan Quinn, combined with the philosophy of the Cowboys, which is they like to get a bargain, they want to get a value there, so they don't spend a lot of draft capital or salary cap dollars there, he's actually been able to help them maximize that value. Because you just signed Donovan Wilson to a newer deal. You just signed him, but prior to that, they were signing all these guys on short-term deals, 2-year deals with a 1-year option. Malik Hooker, I still believe, is on that 2-year deal, and so is Jaron Kearse on that short-term deal. So Donovan Wilson is the one they just signed, but the Cowboys done a really good job, or at least with Dan Quinn there. They've done a really good job at being able to maximize the safety position. Prior to him coming there, it was a disaster for the Cowboys at safety because they didn't invest in it. But now the lack of investment is not hindering them as much because Dan Quinn is developing that talent in the safety position and weaponizing it too.
Yeah, because he moves them around so much, and you've always been talking about positionless football. He is putting those guys in that type of situation where you feel comfortable. If you can run and tackle, he's going to move you closer to the line of scrimmage. If you can cover and tackle, he's going to let you play on the backside. He's going to put you in a position where you can succeed, and it makes him look so much better. That's why I'm always telling you, I always say, you show me a good coach is somebody that can move you around and put you in a position where you can succeed, not where you can show your weaknesses.
Totally agree. Real quick, while we're talking about this, remember we did the Pro Football Focus cornerback rankings maybe 2 weeks ago. Remember they had the Cowboys cornerbacks, Trevon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore, as the top duo because they had them ranked 6th and 8th, both of them in the top 10. You combine Pro Football Focus rankings of the cornerbacks and safeties, they are believing, at least based on the analytics and the analysis, they would have you projecting the Cowboys secondary as the best in the NFL. Would you say that, Harge? Would you say the Cowboys secondary is the best in the NFL?
I don't know if I can go there
completely. Okay.
But they are really, really good in that back end. You just went through the numbers. You talked about how they've gone about it. Then you also look at what Diggs and now Gilmore, and you put in DaRon Bland. Why not?
He had 5 picks. Yeah, I mean, give me one.
Why not?
Give me a secondary that's better than the Cowboys. Maybe that's a better question. Give me one that's better.
You know, I'm all about my boys. I just don't want to sound too homerish.
Okay, let me try real quick.
I'll tell you.
Secondary, I'll say Miami's going to have a good one.
I like Miami's. I like
Miami's.
San Francisco's, and I like Seattle's.
I like Seattle secondary. That's a good one. Jamal Adams, Tariq Woolen, Quandre. That's a good group. They just drafted another corner too.
Yes, they did. Witherspoon.
Yes, they drafted a corner pretty high. I like that secondary. Baltimore's secondary is not bad either.
I like Baltimore's
secondary, Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams is not bad.
I like Buffalo's secondary.
Buffalo's secondary is a good secondary. I'm going to say the Cowboys secondary is in the top 5 for me. And it would be tough for me to name more than 3 secondaries better than the Cowboys. It'd be tough for me.
That would be tough.
I think that's a bit of a challenge if you really to find 3 that you could say definitively are better than the Cowboys secondary.
I liked San Fran's last year too.
I like them. They lost Jimmy Ward though to the Texans. They lost their nickelback / safety too to the Texans. So think about that for a little bit. Okay, real quick because I know we're up against it, so I want to get to the next segment so we can preview Texas baseball, and we're off early. Remember at 6:40. Looked up the. This comes from New York Times. What they said is in the public investment fund. They say more than $700 billion.
700.
They said their projections. The public investment fund, or the PIF, has a pool of money that is no less than $700 billion.
With a B. I likes it. I just need a little bit of that. I just want a piece of it. I just want a piece.
That's basically what they've been giving everybody a piece.
Get your boy a piece.
They definitely could buy. They could buy the XFL and the USFL too. They could buy them both and just combine them.
Yeah, they could.
And you know what? And they also could afford to lose money. Lose $60 million a year, which is what The Rock lost in the first year of the XFL. They could use $60 million and they wouldn't blink.
Yeah, so it's $700 billion. If you lost $60 million a year for a decade, you're still not sweating.
Yeah, because you're adding
Exactly.
money to that, by the way, because a lot of the money comes from their
Different
investment
pieces.
in oil, and
Yep.
they're trying to diversify now, but that's just old oil money, man.
Yep.
Ain't no money like old oil money. Ain't no money like old oil money. They said
ain't
we
no
have
money
just
like
got
it.
to the point in our international finance and our commerce as a society where we believe now we do have a commodity that is more valuable than oil. They say now data actually is valued above oil or wherever. But it's still-
Data?
data.
Oh.
Like data is that, because data is what feeds into AI. Data is what drives all of our algorithms. It's data. But still, there's nothing in the modern age of our commerce that's been valued as high as oil. And that's
No doubt.
old oil money.
Yeah, that's old oil money.
And it's still, and new oil money is still good money. Like the new oil money ain't good money, but they got it all. So there you go, $700 billion. The more I look at that, I'm like, what was Jay Moynihan going to do? What was he going to do? They would have spent them into oblivion.
Yeah.
Because they were hemorrhaging money just thinking about the legal costs. Man, them PIF guys ain't thinking about no legal
They was
costs.
about to get at them.
They was about to
They
get
was
at 'em.
about to get at them.
All right, we'll get to the break here. We'll come back, talk Texas baseball. Then we'll give you up to Texas baseball with the pregame with Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. I'm getting older. Yeah, I can't help but feel a little bit older every day. My body doesn't let me forget about Father Time. But also, as I get older, I'm getting a little bit wiser, all right? So I'm getting wiser. Body's breaking down, but the mind is still sharp. As I get wiser, I realize I got to leave some things behind. I'm ready to leave some things behind, like the Big 12 and social distancing and cancel culture. Hey, I'm ready to say bye to that nonsense. But one thing I'm never ready to say bye to and leave behind is my favorite beer. That's Bud Light. I've been drinking Bud Light for a long time, since my days on the 40 acres, drinking on Dirty Six, balling in the NFL, to my time riding as a player. And now, after a long, hard day, I just like to reward myself with a nice ice-cold Bud Light to decompress, or maybe just to reward myself after a day of hard yard work or something like that. Doesn't matter. Bud Light is still my go-to beer for Longhorn tailgates on Saturdays and my NFL Sundays. So whether you want to toast and cheers to a brighter tomorrow or drown your sorrows, it's never a bad time to break out the Bud Light. It isn't just for anybody. It's for everybody. So make sure you keep that Bud Light flowing, because the best way to get the good times going is to keep the Bud Light flowing. It's a sure sign of a good time, because it turns good times into great times, and the rest of the time simply turn into the best of times. Be the life of the party and bring more Bud Light to the party. It is my choice. It is the world's favorite light beer, and Bud Light, brewed deep in the heart of Texas, and proud of it. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Last segment of the show on a Smooth Soul Monday, which is when my man Patrick plays jams intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans. Hopefully, Longhorn fans will not be dealing with any tortured souls tonight. Hopefully, we're celebrating A.W. Texas baseball taking on Stanford. Matter of fact, the pregame will be starting up here in about 10 minutes from now, about 10 to 15 minutes from now. 6:45 pregame. We'll have Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns, on the call there. Texas taking on Stanford. All right, Harge, are you feeling more confident as you get closer or more nervous as you get closer to this thing?
Well, here's the deal. The starting pitcher that I thought was going to be the starting pitcher for Stanford is not going to be that guy. It's going to be Nick Duggan. He has a 7.26 ERA. But
Say what now?
7.26 ERA.
Okay.
But he's had
I like that.
a really, really good regional and super regional.
So he's trending.
He's trending in the opposite direction.
I
7
noticed-
innings with 1 earned run.
Oh, okay.
In his
So I was
last
gonna say-
couple,
I
yeah.
also say I would love to see his ERA in the postseason. 'Cause
Yeah.
Maybe that's when he's trending the right
Yeah,
way.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so give me strategy for this move for them for Stanford. It's just something that for Texas, maybe they don't have as good of a scouting report on this guy. Is that the reason?
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly it could be something like that, or it could be they have a hunch because
Got a hunch,
that
okay.
guy is pitching during during the regionals and the super regionals. So put him out there, get him his opportunity, and make sure that you get ahead. For me tonight, Texas has got to jump out early. They got to put pressure on Stanford. They have to put the ball in play. Top of the order has to be electric. Tanner Witt has to go out there and deliver strikes and pitch to contact. He's had trouble just finding his rhythm. I don't know how many innings he's going to go tonight, but don't expect him to go past 55 pitches, 60 pitches. I wouldn't see him going that far.
All right.
If he does, that means that he's feeling good and the game's moving along at a better pace than what was expected. But tonight is everybody, Johnny Holstaff, as we like to say. If you can throw, you're going to be out there. I know that they said that the pitcher for Stanford is not going to be available, Quinn Matthews, but they did say LeBaron Johnson might be able to come in and face a batter or two. So we'll see what happens here. It's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
We talked about it before. Oh, there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Top of the lineup, get the party started and continue all the way down and continue to play good defense. They do that, they're going to be all right.
And word about the top of that lineup, you gave the very, very disturbing stat that they were 3 of 30.
3 of 30. And
and
that's not a good look.
That is not good
That's
at all.
not a good look.
And goes to your point you made about the strong start. Got to have a fast start. In order for them to have a fast start, top of the order has to pick their game up.
Quality at bats, whether you're taking a bunch of walks, getting the pitch count up on their pitcher, making them uncomfortable, hitting and running, moving the ball, whatever it takes situationally. There was a situation in Saturday night's game. My man Jared Thomas came up and infield was playing back. He got a ball. Normally, he would take a big cut at it. He took a nice aggressive hack, drove it through the middle, and first thing came to my mind, I was about to text you. Now, that's how you play situational baseball. You
Situational
have to
baseball.
do it. That's right. You got to make sure you play situationally right now because this is where it's at. This is how it ends. This is where you either go to Omaha or you look back and say missed opportunities.
Yeah, Texas baseball fans, honestly, and this team's had a great year. They really have because they've surprised a lot of folks. Where were they picked to finish 4th?
They were supposed
in the Big 12,
Yep.
and ended up getting a share of that Big 12 regular season title. And if you look at things right now, and I heard I heard Craig talking about this too. If you had started at the beginning of the season and somebody told you just where you'd be with a chance to go to the College World Series in a winner-take-all situation, would you have taken it?
Sign me up. Sign me up.
Exactly.
Sign me up.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, well, you're here.
Yep.
So winner take all on the line, and this team bounce. I love the way this team bounces back. They're a resilient group, and that was for them last game. That was a little bit disappointing for them. Like I said, I like that they come back and they really have a bounce back factor. They have all year long. Even Coach Pierce has talked about how resilient this group is. It'll be put to the ultimate test.
No doubt.
Tonight. How
This is the
resilient this
ultimate
group
test.
is. I feel good about it, actually. I feel good.
I like it.
I feel good about this group.
I like hearing that.
Yeah, they got championship
I like
DNA.
hearing that, man.
I like it, man. So,
Okay.
all right. So, are you making a pick here for the game?
I just want everybody to play well and play hard.
Okay.
Hook them.
Okay. All right.
Because all I do is win. Let's go. Let's go, Texas. Let's win this thing, baby.
Yeah. All right. What about Game 5 of the NBA Finals, gentlemen? Are we making a pick here? I mean, we're picking.
Well, you already know my answer.
Are we picking cover? You want to pick the 9 points?
I think they cover.
You think they cover the 9?
Yeah,
Because
they
I think the
cover,
pick, we're all going Denver. It's a question of, does Miami make it interesting at least? Is Jokic get to walk off? Do they get to bench him and get the round of applause going to the bench?
Oh,
Does he
that's a
get
good
that?
question.
Do Jamal Murray and him get to take a curtain call, walk off because they're just beat him that bad?
I don't know. That's bad. That means you have to
No,
be
I
up
don't
by
think
like
that- yeah.
15, 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like late in the fourth. I
Yeah.
don't see that happening.
And I
don't
see.
see it either.
I was going to say, I see Miami pushing tonight.
I see
think
him
they're going
pushing.
to go there until the fourth quarter, and
I
that's
think
when it
that
goes
third
away.
quarter is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because when they start the third quarter, is it Miami's going to come out of that locker room with a fire in them? Or are they coming out of that locker room thinking about what their offseason plans are?
That's a great, yeah. And honestly, this team's got a lot of heart, man. They got a lot of dog in them. I can see them fighting like hell, even though they know this series is pretty much over, and just doing it because they got a lot of pride. But Mike, just from watching the series, I don't know if that'll be enough. I generally think you'll get a fight, and that fight they'll still be smothered by Denver and Denver's overall talent. And Denver smells it. They're close. They know it.
Right.
And
Like, you smell. They smell it, man.
if Michael Porter Jr. or KCP show up in this game, then it's too much.
Yeah, I think a Jokic that is he can taste greatness, like
Yeah.
it's that close. And with this guy, I think him and Jamal Murray, I think they're gonna close out, man. I think they're about to put the nail in the coffin. I think they're gonna lose, no doubt, no doubt.
And I'm gonna let this be a lesson to every coach out there when you go out there to try and campaign for your player to get MVP. Doc, you lost your job and you got knocked out in the playoffs. Shouldn't have made him mad. Don't campaign for your players.
Yeah, they did. They upset Jokic, man, and Joker came to play, and he'll come to play in Game 5 too. I think they'll cover, and I think Denver will be celebrating their first championship as an organization on their home floor tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back to talk about all of it. Hopefully, talking about a Texas dub as well. Craig Way coming up next on the call with Texas baseball versus Stanford. Don't go anywhere. That's the pregame for you. I want to thank my man Harge. I want to thank my man Patrick, and all of you out there for listening. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. Talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more important.